It's time for Twig This Week in Google. Great panel for you. Stacey Higginbotham, Jeff Jarvis, Ant Pruitt. We're going to be talking about the Google event coming up in a couple of weeks and what to expect. Maybe a new Chromebook, maybe a new phone. We'll talk about Facebook, its new oversight board, how that's going to work, how it might not work, and why Apple should just stop giving keynotes. It's all coming up next on Twig.
Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twig.
This is Twig, This Week in Google, episode 526. Recorded Wednesday, September 18th, 2019. All stick, no carrot. This episode of This Week in Google is brought to you by Grammarly. Grammarly is a communication tool that helps people improve their writing to be mistake-free, clear, and effective. Start writing confidently by going to Grammarly.com/twig and get 20% off a Grammarly premium account today. And by Monday.com. Monday helps teams manage work and meet deadlines while building a culture of transparency. Manage all your core business activities in one place. Learn more at Monday.com/twig. And by Zapier. Zapier connects all your business software and handles the work for you, so you can focus on what matters most. Right now through November, go to Zapier.com/twig for your free 14-day trial. It's time for Twig This Week in Google, the show where we cover the latest Googleverse stuff with Mr. Jeff Jarvis, professor of journalism at CUNY in New York.
At the Newmark Graduate School of Journalism.
Now, is this a rule that you have to say that every time to give credit?
It is the name of the school.
The Newmark Graduate School of
Journalism.
Journalism.
The name of the school. Yes.
But it is at CUNY, the city university.
It's the Craig Newmark Graduate School of Journalism at CUNY.
Can I use an acronym? It seems like a lot of work.
Craig School?
Craig School. Stacey's laughing. Stacey Higginbotham's also here. She doesn't have a long title. She's the woman in charge of StaceyOnIoT.com and co-host with Kevin Toffel of the IoT podcast. Hello, Stacey.
Hello.
Hello. From the great Pacific Northwest. Winter is coming.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I have to say.
The rain is already here.
Yeah, I bet it is. I actually miss rain. We got a little rain this morning. It was kind of nice. I miss rain. Also joining us, and I think we're going to see a little bit more of Ant because I really like having him on the show, Ant Pruitt.
So do we.
Hello.
And I like his lower third of twit.tv.
Man, look at that.
Yeah.
Look at that.
That's me.
That's
on
good.
that
That's good, isn't it? That's the good
By the way,
stuff.
so we should promote.
California is awesome. Other than waking up this morning thinking I had a leak, like a plumbing leak, it was just rain.
So it wasn't coming in the house.
It wasn't coming in the house, but I heard it.
You heard drip, drip, drip.
And I'm like, oh crap, something's wrong. Oh, it's
well,
raining?
it was my fault because I told you, we're not going to see any rain till October, Ant, or maybe November. Foolish me. You pretended you couldn't believe it. What? It stopped raining in May, and you won't see more rain till October.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's the California way, Ant.
I fell for it.
Ant moved out here.
So
from
we
North
should promote
Carolina.
what else Ant is doing at Twit.
Well, I don't know. Some of it's super secret. We've got 2 shows in the works.
Mm-hmm. We have 2 in the works, but I do have a hands-on tech segment. So make sure you subscribe to Hands on Tech. That's twit.tv/hot. There's a fancy little AI camera that I reviewed.
Oh, neat.
And it's pretty slick.
Ant's going to, among other things, but one of the things Ant's going to do is be our photography guru. He's going to teach me the ways of the sensei.
Oh, boy.
And we're working on a couple of shows with Ant, and there'll be more to come. And same thing with our other new host, Micah Sargent. A couple of new shows we'll be announcing soon with Micah. And I'm actually doing a new show called Ask the Tech Guy, which is just really more of me.
We don't get enough of you, my man.
Right. Just we need more Leo. So Google announced its event, October 15th.
Yeah.
And it's in your backyard, JJ.
It is. I
going,
would go. I have a meeting that day. It's killing me.
Oh, come on.
I would love to go.
You can cancel that.
What kind of meeting?
You are Jeff
It's a big
Jarvis.
diversity meeting with lots of people coming in.
Oh, you
so
can't cancel that. No.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Well, we're going to cover it. I presume it's going to be, I think it's 7 a.m. It's going to be live. They're going to stream it. We will be covering it 7 a.m. I will not be in the studio at 7 a.m.
I will be here with Mr. Jason Howell.
Jason Howell and Ant have volunteered to come in very, very early in the morning. So
Looking
thank you.
forward to it.
You know, it's a little disappointment for me.
Kevin's going to be there.
Oh, yeah, good. Nice. Kevin would be great.
He's going to be there. Oh, yay.
Because, you mean at the event?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, because the Pixelbook 2, right?
I'm so happy, I hope.
Allegedly.
I'm so happy.
Kevin will be joining us next week on the show to talk about what he's hoping.
In addition to us covering it here, Florence from All About Android, she's going to be there. She's
going as well. So Kevin Toffel, Florence Ion. So we'll definitely be covering it. This, according to a 9 to 5 Google, it's a second time that the Pixelbook 2 has shown up at the FCC, which is weird. A clamshell style Chromebook, codename Atlas. It'll be built by Quanta, which has built other Google Chromebooks before. We don't know a whole lot based on this entry. It has a Wi-Fi and Bluetooth. Duh.
Shocking.
Duh. Quanta built the slate.
Well, if it didn't have those, we would notice.
That would be a big story. Actually, I'm curious. You know, Apple announced at its event, and now we're starting to see new computers come with Wi-Fi 6, 802.
Oh,
I knew you would know something about this. 802.11ax. Stacey Higginbotham, go.
Okay, so this is what we're telling everybody. The big news about Wi-Fi 6 is it is AX. It is designed to support many, many devices at once. So many different devices sending data around. For most people in the home, this isn't going to be a big deal. Where it is going to matter is places like corporations, enterprise campuses, stadiums, where you're trying to send a lot of data in one place, and kind of big crowds of people. And what you'll want to do is buy Wi-Fi ready phones or Wi-Fi
6
enabled. Sorry. Wi-Fi 6 enabled phones.
Yeah.
I know the new iPhone is. When we're talking about your home and your current router purchases, I'm going to tell you not to run out and buy a new router. Really.
Why
because this is not something, until you have like 50 or more devices and they all have to be Wi-Fi 6 compatible, you're not going to see the benefits. And 50 is a high number. We'll say 30 to 40.
So
but
what
your existing
phones, Stacey, what phones are phones already compatible?
Well, the iPhone is, I believe,
it's the first I've heard.
The Huawei.
There are new phones announcements coming from OnePlus next week. Huawei, Google,
Huawei's
of course.
Wi-Fi 6.
I'm going to guess anything announced from now on will be Wi-Fi 6.
Yeah, let me just make sure that Apple Wi-Fi 6.
No, they did. They made a big deal about it being
I thought you
Wi-Fi
said
6.
okay, I was like, I swear they did.
No, they made a big deal about it. But I think that's the first phone I'd heard of. Maybe Huawei.
I think you're right.
Yeah. So, but there's no benefit to you at home with Wi-Fi 6 if you don't have a Wi-Fi 6 router. But there might be, as you say, a benefit in a crowded space like a football stadium.
Totally. You'll want it on your phone. And if you're like a gadget person who goes to lots of events that's going to have Wi-Fi and tons of people running Wi-Fi at a launch event, perhaps,
right.
You'll want that on your computer.
Oh, yeah, we'll need that for CES.
Yes.
So I stand corrected. Scooter X says that the Samsung S10, S10 Plus, S10e, and presumably that means the Note 10, all are Wi-Fi 6 as well.
Oh, nice.
So the newest Samsung phones are Wi-Fi 6. So thank you, Scooter X.
So if you are in the market right now for a new router, like you're like, oh, I'm dying, I need a router, get one that's Wi-Fi 6 ready. But don't, like, if your router's fine, you can wait a couple years, because in the home, all of your like smart devices that you might think would gain from this aren't, because those devices aren't going to get Wi-Fi 6 for a while.
But it will be good for IoT. I mean, this is something, if you get a new IoT device, you'd probably look for, right?
So I talked to the product manager over at Google Nest about Wi-Fi 6, and here's what they said, that the bill of materials is going to be higher on Wi-Fi 6. It doesn't necessarily make sense for devices that can't take advantage of it. And right now, there's not a real reason for most smart home devices to try to take advantage of it. So I would say you're fine.
Do you have a minute to share the nerdy side of it, far as how this is going to work? Because when I think about it, I'm thinking about just being at a stadium or CES or something like that, and you have all of this congestion on the network. Is the router just a better traffic cop at this point?
There's a better traffic cop, and then there's also the MIMO. Okay, help me out here.
Multiple in, multiple out.
Yes. So they have multi-user, multiple in, multiple out. So MU MIMO.
Okay.
is what we're seeing.
MIMO. Yeah. MIMO. Yeah.
So what's going to happen is with all of those antennas, you're allowed to create more direct paths. You're allowed to calculate these kind of very direct paths.
Beamforming or something else?
Oh, I may be confusing MIMO and beamforming.
Because beamforming is available in Wi-Fi 5, 802.11 AC.
I think it's the antenna configurations give you more capability. Now I'm forgetting. Oh my gosh.
So here's one of the issues with Wi-Fi, and I'm curious. I bet you this is an attempt to solve this, which is it's like Ethernet, a collision-based network. So, and this is something I only recently learned, and I was kind of disappointed to learn. When you have Wi-Fi traffic in a house, if you have multiple routers or multiple devices, if two devices start speaking at the same time, the same thing happens on Ethernet. One device will say, "Oh, I'm sorry.
All right.
My bad," and stop. You go. The other device will continue, but then that's the device, and if it's your device, that means you are now halted. No more Wi-Fi for you for a period of time, a random period of time, and then you begin again. Collision-based networks do not handle a lot of different devices very well. Ethernet is that way as well. It's why you segment a LAN in your office to avoid that. And I think it's one of the reasons Wi-Fi has become increasingly less effective in a home is because we have so many devices now. I'm a little sorry to hear that 802.11ax, what the new Wi-Fi 6, isn't going to be on IoT devices, because I feel like that's the devices that are screwing up my Wi-Fi.
Possibly.
Well, so most of them aren't always on.
They're
in the same
they're
way
low bandwidth devices.
They're low bandwidth and they're very intermittent. Now, Scooter X just put this in to save me. Thanks, Scooter X.
He's been our researcher today. Thank you.
Wi-Fi 6 access points will be able to divvy up each individual signal between multiple recipient devices, servicing all of them with a single transmission like a truck driver making multiple stops on a route.
Interesting.
Okay, so that's how it's going to deal with congestion.
Yep.
But I can't remember if MIMO is just about capacity. I really feel like there's not necessarily a beamforming angle, but there's an angle there.
MIMO's been around for a while. We've had Wi-Fi MIMO for a long time.
Well, and that's what, so if you listen to Qualcomm, that's what we've had MIMO on the cellular side for a while.
Right.
And we're now bringing it into Wi-Fi. And that's why Qualcomm's like, we have such an advantage because we've been doing cellular.
We know MIMO. Yeah.
But
okay.
Anyway,
so this is a good thing to get in a new device. I understand that something like an Echo or a Bluetooth, your smart lock is probably not going to be a critical device. But if you have a camera that's always on, like a Nest Cam, I think you would want it, to be honest.
I imagine those will come out first.
Yeah.
But again, it's not something, you don't see a lot of advantage from it until you get like 30 to 50 devices in your house.
Yeah, but I have that many.
Cameras that need,
devices, you're right. But a lot of Echoes, a lot of Google Assistants, those probably don't need it. God, everything. I have so many devices. It's really out of control. And I think I'm an outlier now, but not for much longer. This is going to be more and more common.
Yeah.
I mean,
no, the average home, according to Comcast, I think the most recent stats, they have 13 devices in their house now.
Everybody has a tablet. Everybody has a phone. Everybody has some IoT thing. It's commonplace now.
I now have 4 Nest cameras, a Hello doorbell, probably 5 Echoes, maybe an equal number of Google Assistants.
You are the one person on earth who actually does need Wi-Fi 6 in your house.
But
just because of all the crap you have running. You and Stacey are the two who need it.
I may be an outlier today, but I think it's coming for a lot of people. I mean, yes, of course. Comcast is talking about the average. But
right. We're on the upper end of average.
Yeah, baby.
Show title.
We are not.
The upper end of average.
Yeah. I'm upper average. Thank you very much. All right. So this will be in the new Pixel 2. To get back to Pixelbook 2, it will be in the new Pixelbook 2, codename Atlas. No, I'm sorry. This all came up because I said I don't see it in the specs for the Pixelbook 2, so maybe it won't be. Why do you need a new Pixelbook? Is yours wearing out, Jeff?
Mine's 2 years old, and it's starting to do occasionally flaky things with the video, and I use it just every minute of every day. So in my old routine, you who buys something new every week, I've got a little FOMO lust here just to get a new computer, so I feel secure.
You want
with
a new
That's
computer?
Well, don't you want more processing power and horsepower in particular?
I'm hoping that I'll have all that too.
Yeah, but if you have a Pixelbook, you got a lot of horsepower. You have a lot of overhead.
I do. I love the machine. I got nothing wrong with the machine now. It's just that I'm guessing it's going to die. I'd rather get something new.
Yeah.
Okay.
By the way,
I beat it.
Explicitly, the FCC listing says the Pixelbook 2 does not support Wi-Fi 6. It is a Wi-Fi 5 device.
That's fine. I'm not taking it to Stadia.
Right. Again, we should be okay with that.
Well, I'm not. I want the latest. I want AX.
All right. Well, this isn't you.
That's not for me.
Well, here's the thing. What I wanted, of course, as you know, is LTE, because my intention was to get a Fi data SIM. Is that all going to go away now, or is Fi going to just become another phone company?
No, I think that was the impression I got when they announced this new flat pricing, the $80 a month flat pricing, because it's a terrible deal unless you know you're going to use all those gigabytes. They are not killing what we use.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah. They have an unlimited plan, but that's more so that they can say to people who are going to Verizon, well, ours is $10 less,
I see.
They say consumers understand that better. But the existing plan, which has, I can't remember the name of it. It's not unlimited. It's the other one. Pay as you go sort of is going to stay. And that's honestly a great deal. They said one reason consumers don't like it is that they don't know what they're going to pay every month. That's dumb.
Yeah.
So you overpay, so it's the same amount every month?
Yeah, that makes no sense.
This is why people get excited about tax refunds. Every time I'm like, dude, you just let the government have your money.
You're lending them money. That's your money you're getting back.
But it's just a consumer. It's easier to think about. I get it.
I get it.
Wasn't there some type of
flexible
22 gig cap or?
So that actually,
it's 22 gig. They throttle you back at 22
Same
gigabytes.
for unlimited, by the way. That's no different.
It's the same as most places.
Who
exactly
uses
the same as Verizon?
Really, as far as I can think, the only reason they do that is so you don't use it as residential internet. Because you'd have to be doing that to get that much data.
I once did Twig from a show on my phone because the broadband in the press room was so bad.
What did you use?
And I used, I think, 5 to 6 gigabytes streaming the show.
I'm sorry.
And my we got a note from our plan like you're out of, and my daughter thought it was her, and she kept like for like months after
that happened to me.
She put her phone on airplane mode everywhere she went, and I felt so bad for her. We told her it was us, but she was like, I thought it was me.
God, you have a nice daughter.
That happened to me at CES one year when I was doing a lot of live streams and just uploading a lot of content, and everybody in the house was getting that notification, and my son was freaking out. He was like, well, I promised Dad I wasn't doing anything,
So Aunt and I, it's going to be the Leo and Aunt on the Road show at CES this year.
It's going to be
And
epic.
the plan is to use probably the new iPhone to shoot a bunch of interviews and then just upload them as we go, which means I'm on T-Mobile. Will that be? I hope it's going to be all right.
I think you need multiple plans for something like that.
Maybe I will. I can bring different SIMs and multiple phones.
He will have 5 phones in his pocket,
I will.
I'm sure.
We'll find
or just
a way.
one phone and several SIMs, whichever.
Yeah, no, that's a good idea. You're good thinking, Stacey. Yeah.
And Fi will also limit streaming video to
incoming
to 480p.
Yeah. That's what everybody does with these quote unlimited plans. So I do hope it's not a sign that the Fi model isn't working for Google.
That's
that they're going to be moving you to unlimited.
I love it.
Yeah. So the unlimited.
I have a second phone. I use it when I'm out of town. It's worth it for me to keep it going just for that reason. But if they raise the price or become a regular plan, then I'm stuck.
Right.
Well, then you switch over to T-Mobile.
Well, then I've got to get rid of. No,
you
actually,
could do
I have
like
to do
Ting or something like that.
Ting, our sponsor, by the way, Mint Mobile is a great deal. So Mint Mobile is I paid $300. You pay up front a whole year, so I paid $300 for a year of 12 gigabytes a month for a year, and then unlimited phone calls.
International?
No. They ride on T-Mobile.
That's why I have Fi.
Yeah, Fi is the thing for. That's, by the way, and this is purely on a personal note, but I'm disappointed that Google's event is on the 15th because I won't be able to get a Pixel 4 for my trip. I'm leaving on the 21st. I'm really bummed. Unless they have them that day, which nobody ever does.
No, they won't.
Yeah.
They won't.
Pixel 4 will be doing its own Face ID at Google. I don't know are they going to still have fingerprint? I don't know.
I hope so.
I would hope so.
I don't want this face crap.
Yeah, I'd rather have the fingerprint.
They've teased the Face ID, and this will be using the Project Soli technology. They've teased it with a little video that shows that it'll recognize you just at an angle, and then there's this new hand gestures, which again I don't know why. Gimmick. Yeah. But
I'm still sad that Soli isn't available in the Nest Hub.
Oh, by the way, did you get your Hub Max yet?
No.
I did.
No.
I love it.
I thought I finished ordering it, but I didn't.
Oh,
so
I've done
I went
that.
back and
Oh
ordered.
I've done
no.
that. So I got it. I've had it for a few days. It's the speaker's disappointing. It's not as good as the Echo Show, even the original Echo Show. It's okay, but it's not great. I was hoping for better. You've got a bigger device. The screen though is beautiful, and it's because I love the little one I have on my bedside table. That one doesn't have a camera. This one does. If you turn on Face ID recognition, which I did, it's a little creepy.
No, horror.
When you walk, well, it's a little creepy.
Stolen.
When you walk up to it, it says, "Oh, hi, Leo."
Oh no, no.
It knows that you're there. It starts showing you your calendar. It goes, "Here's what you got today.
Oh no.
Here's your specially customized news." The whole thing is completely customized for me.
I dig that if it wasn't scanning my face. So
Well, how else is it going to do that?
Yeah,
it's terrible at voice recognition. So this is a good option.
I like it, but we've talked many times on this show about the creepy line. It's right up against it.
It straddles that creepy line.
Choice.
But I turn it on. You have to turn it on. It's not on by default.
No, that's good. So it's opt in.
And I have to say, so I thought, well, if I'm going to get that, I should get the Hello doorbell, replace the Ring, to see how the Nest is different, because it's always on, right, Stacey? That's the big difference. It's unlike the Ring, which has to kind of turn on, and there's this lag. So I don't
remember if it's always on, but it's definitely faster.
Hello is always on. The Ring,
it is okay.
I get the UPS guy's butt most of the time as he's leaving.
How's that butt though?
Well, those shorts are very flattering.
I'm like, that's a thing for a reason.
So. But the camera's pretty much, it looks the same. It's very wide angle.
Right.
I like it though that I can say to my Nest Max, stream the front door, and it's on. It's there. Or stream, and I've now kind of Nest cameras everywhere. I kind of want to. For years I laughed at people who had cameras. I said, it's just making you nervous. There's no reason. And now I kind of like it. I can see what's going on everywhere. There's somebody at our front door right now. That kind of thing.
You talked about the speaker on it. What expectations do you have?
Oh, you mean for the Nest Hub, Home Hub Next Max thing?
Yeah.
It should sound as good as the Echo Show. It's their version of the Echo Show.
I just don't think any of them should sound good. I mean,
it should have a decent bass. It doesn't. It's okay.
All right, I'm gonna buy one. Well, no, I've got one.
I figured these should sound like a beach speaker. That's it. No more, no less.
It sounds like a low-end beach speaker. Some have a little more bass.
Oh wow!
Okay. My Lenovo.
We're gonna we'll do a hot review. Everybody can hear it for themselves. How does that sound?
My Lenovo display. That sounds pretty good.
Okay.
I'm gonna have to compare them.
So if audio is
really
important, I think you should get the Lenovo rather than the Google. But the Google seems to have more features. You could do duo calling.
I can do duo calling on the Lenovo.
Can you? Maybe it isn't more features.
Okay.
They did say that it's not the same technology that Lenovo uses. It's more like a Chromecast technology in the Google version or the Nest version. Which is weird.
Oh. Okay.
I like it. I think it's maybe I'm an outlier because I loved the Echo Show when it came out. I thought this is the best one ever. This is so great. I love having a screen. With the reason I had the Echo Show is because I could say show my Ring doorbell because they're both Amazon. So I thought, well, I should get the Hello.
Right. Just to tie it all together.
But one little issue on the Hello, and I don't know, do you have a Hello, Stacey?
I used to. I don't on this house.
Supposed to do people recognition. Oh, wait a minute. It's starting to do it now. It only recognized one person so far.
You have to train it.
Someone that
you have to train it. Yeah, I'm going to train it now.
Just
so that's,
AI that
you
says
start training.
That's Michael.
Dog.
And then it says it hasn't seen anyone new yet. Once they do, return to the screen. Now, I've had it in place for a week. It should have seen a lot of new people.
Did you just opt into it, or maybe it just...
That's the other thing it says. This may be illegal in some jurisdictions.
Yeah, and I wanted to ask you that. What are the implications of someone...
It says, find out what the laws are in your location.
So this is an interesting punt, because when I had an alarm company install a doorbell for me, so I had Vivint come install their doorbell about 2 years ago in my old house, what I found most interesting is they actually forced me to put up a little sticker that said this premises is monitored video or whatever. Google, they send those. Ring sends them in their box, but they don't require you to put that up. And I was very curious because the Vivint guy was like, yeah, you have to put that up if you've got a camera.
They're on my freaking property.
That depends per state, though.
Here's what
you definitely have to do that. I know you have to do that in Washington. I don't think you have to do that in California.
Here's what the language is. Use this feature in compliance with the law. Depending on where you live, you might need to get the consent of people visiting your home. I don't know how you would get consent before you...
Well, what you do is you just put a sign up on the outside of, like we do at the school. If you enter this home, you're going to be videoed, recorded.
Right. We have that in the studio.
And made fun of in all,
I want to say Megan Maroney did that. She just stuck signs up just to see why.
I guess it would have a good deterrent, but I don't know. I don't want to do that. That seems kind of weird.
But it's not weird to...
We're watching you.
Right.
They're on my property. They're on my property. Can't I take a picture of them on my property?
What's the company you have at the front to sign in?
It's not just your property, though. So here's an example we used actually to talk about about Ring and the deals with police departments. You can sometimes, not every case, see other people's property. Well, so if your neighbor across the street is smoking weed on his porch...
I don't see that, but I can see the drive, and I can see the street out front.
Right, the street out
Stacey,
front.
If
but
that
I don't see anybody's face.
Public view, it doesn't matter. Okay. It doesn't matter.
Okay, I know. I understand being in public, but there's a difference between
way far away is the other.
Well, we're talking about legality now.
Yeah.
Well, yes, but there's also like this. One of the issues with something like having a doorbell cam like this that is accessible, like whose files are accessible to law enforcement, is they can look for that. Like they could do something like face recognition for, let's say, an immigrant. Maybe it's ICE trying to.
Well, that's the difference in the police having it. I'm not sharing this with my law enforcement. This is just mine.
It's definitely legal for police in California to use that.
Well, and that, by the way, that's going to become a campaign issue. I think some of the Democratic candidates for president have already said, I think it's Bernie Sanders has already said, we want to make it illegal in every jurisdiction for police to use face recognition of any kind.
We have a story about that.
Which just drives me nuts, yes.
It seems like a useful policing tool.
It does.
Well, and not just policing, but again, I keep on the same examples, missing children, missing Alzheimer's patients. There are legitimate criminals who've just shot up a bunch of people because we have guns in this country. The technology is not what the problem is. If you have problems with the police, you have problems with the police.
Yes, that's true.
I would recommend a moratorium until they figure out how to do this. Yeah, the rules.
God help
the rules on how to use them, until facial recognition gets better at.
That's the biggest problem.
There is a great. I'm sorry, we got to go to it now. There is a great piece by Benedict Evans from Andreessen Horowitz in the Rundown about just this.
Yes.
And Ben's brilliant. Ben, if you don't follow Ben on Twitter and get his email newsletter, I'm telling you want to. What Ben says, he goes back and he looks at how there were similar fears around databases. Right. And when you got something wrong in a database, and there were all kinds of books at the time, right? Databanks in a free society.
People are still dealing with database problems, though, Jeff. Look at the no-fly list. That is a perfect example.
He says that. Ben goes through that, and he says, yes, there are examples of these kinds of mistakes, and those mistakes are there. Yes, but that doesn't mean that we eliminate all databases.
Okay. We're not eliminating facial recognition. We're saying that we should put a moratorium on using facial recognition for policing purposes in various cities. And cities themselves are voting on this. Local municipalities. This isn't even a federal or even a statewide.
No, it's banned in San Francisco.
Moral panic.
Right. So, but these citizens they're saying that this is what they want.
Because they're getting drummed up by moral panic. Yeah.
Jeff.
No, because the technology is not there yet.
It's not ready.
The facial recognition technology is not
who knows?
ready for
Listen,
law
folks,
enforcement.
I'm sorry, but if you have a relative who has Alzheimer's, it's fine for you to say, oh, no, but sorry, you can't find you because it's going to take another 2 years to get this ready. The point is not the technology. Wait. Let me just finish one second.
No. You interrupted me with your moral panic stuff. I'm going to finish telling you why facial recognition is not awesome. One, it doesn't work the way you're saying it works. You don't just feed in someone's face and then all the cameras in the city. This is not Minority Report yet. So that's one, Jeff. Two, the way that police departments have been using it, and this is documented in New York City and other places, is not, it is an overreach, and it is not using the technology in a way that is catching people, catching the right people.
The right.
So that's the point I'm trying to make.
Stacey, my point back is, what you regulate then is no, you say,
until we
can I get it? No?
I don't think that has anything to do with moral. That's just whether it's right or wrong. The tech is not there yet. It's just not there.
Listen, look at it this way. It's input data, right?
Right.
A witness tells you that person just stole something, right? That person could be lying. That person could be right. That person could be wrong.
True.
What you do with that piece of information, that one piece of data, so-and-so says so-and-so stole something,
right,
is what a justice system is all about, right? But it's just one piece of data, and we have structures to look through that. In this case, you have one piece of data. This is the computer says this person looks like this person. Well, then you got plenty of ways to say it either is or is not that person. If you go shoot somebody because of it, yes, that'd be wrong.
Mm-hmm.
If you arrest them and put them in jail for the rest of their lives, that'd be wrong. But we have justice systems to deal with data. Do the police screw things up, and are they often malevolent, especially around race? Yes, that's the problem.
What if we replace the word face recognition with fingerprints? Because fingerprints aren't perfect. There are false positives. Some people don't have fingerprints.
Yeah.
Fingerprints are a very useful law enforcement tool, however. And I think with fingerprints, you have that kind of protection that you're talking about, Jeff. Nobody just relies solely on fingerprints. But isn't that a useful law enforcement tool? Isn't that like face recognition?
That's all I'm saying. You regulate the use of the information. Sorry, Stacey.
So fingerprints are really. Oh,
go ahead, Stacey. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No. You go ahead, Ann.
Well, fingerprints are way more reliable based on just how long we've been around and how long the development has been there. Facial,
but they're not perfect.
They're not perfect. But
they're also not as accessible. I'll add on to that. So if I'm trying, to get a fingerprint actually requires you send a person out and dust for prints.
Yeah.
And that is much less. So again, I want to tie this back to that
concept. This is just a better way of doing it because it's easier and faster.
Well, but that kills your privacy in a lot of ways. So that's that ambient privacy idea. So if I can pull out this, and if you had my face on your camera, that's a lot better, right? To actually try to match it against faces in the system. What the police are doing now is they're saying, someone will say like, oh, the Woody Harrelson guy, actually. This guy looked like Woody Harrelson.
Right.
And so they ran faces of Woody Harrelson. They ran against Woody Harrelson to find this particular person. Did they find him? Yes. Is that a great way to use this?
No.
No, but you have to trust. I think Benedict is right in the sense that the real issue is not lack of trust in the technology. It's a lack of trust in police. And
yes, that is true.
I mean, it's the same problem with the Woody Harrelson thing. That seems like a crappy idea.
But you can't.
But that's all they had. It worked. And if you trust the rest of the police process, it worked effectively.
You can't give people who aren't ready for the tools the tool. And that's what these moratoriums are trying to do. They're saying, you know what? You're not trustworthy enough to have this as a tool. And I don't think that's not a wrong thing to say.
But again, what? Right? Let's take out crime. Let's take out crime for a second.
All right.
Would you be okay if they use this technology for missing children?
Or if Tay-Tay used this at her concert to block stalkers from getting into the concert?
if you could
So
pass
Tay Tay's
that
an interesting
law,
thing because that's private
yes.
and you can opt into that. So using it for missing children, it depends on how they use it, and it depends on where that data goes.
So their point is made that it does depend on the situation.
Use. It depends on the use.
Both
exactly.
Context.
It doesn't just depend on the use. So it depends on the use. It depends on who has access. Like, would I give this to an organization that isn't like the police? Actually, maybe. So that's why I would give it to Taylor Swift, to go see her concert.
She's far more trustworthy than our local police department.
These are...
I get your
Taylor
point
Swift
on
isn't
that.
armed.
Everybody does not need all of that particular power.
I don't think it's unreasonable to say, let's slow down or let's have a moratorium. I think that is not an unreasonable
Who says
thing.
when it's ready? Who's the god of ready then?
The citizens. That's why they're being decided at the municipal level.
We're always the god of
That's why
ready.
they're being pumped up by moral panic. Before we leave Benedict's piece, can I just point out this neat chart he has in there, which he gave credit for, which I think is a really nice expression of machine learning, just for future use for PowerPoints, folks.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So classical programming, I've said this for a long time. This is my definition.
It's just really done.
This is actually my definition of artificial intelligence. Normal programming, the programmer gives it rules, then gives it data. The computer program applies the rules to the data, results in an answer. That's algorithmic programming. Mm-hmm. And I think a lot of what we call AI is actually that. Real AI, real machine learning, you give it a ton of data. You give it answers. So you say, these are all bananas.
Right.
And then it generates its own rules for picking bananas from hot dogs.
Right.
And I think that is very useful for everybody.
It's a nice little chart.
It's kind of an every
Ben
person
went on
way to understand
Twitter,
that,
he found this. And he said, does anybody know who did this? And sure enough, Francois Choulet did, and he put credit in. But I think it's a very nice little PowerPointy thing. I just wanted to mention that. Yeah. And it was a nice way of changing the subject. And
I would also just, to put a button on this conversation, if you want more conversation about this, you can check out Triangulation episode 400. We talked about the guy behind the San Francisco police ban on facial recognition.
Yeah, Ben, I can't remember his last name. Yeah, that was a very interesting triangulation.
Very good job of promo.
Thanks, Carsten.
Yeah.
Nice.
I'm trying to give our other shows a little bit.
Yeah, we want to give them.
Do you put a button on it, or do you put a bow on it, or do you put a?
He's
pin
more
in
of a button than a bow kind of guy.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm like, wait, have I been saying that wrong this whole time? Because it's happened all the time.
It's a Harvard thing.
You can tie a bow around it, or you can put a button on it. I think both,
you put a
both
button
phrases work.
I like button. That seems a little more archaic.
But I may have made that up. It may be a neologism, but I'm allowed to do that.
Put a button in it is fantastic. Harvard is where the home of neologisms in the United States of America. Let's take a little break. You know what Mr. Harvard needs? He needs Grammarly. I always said to myself, I don't need Grammarly because my grammar is perfect. Then I started using Grammarly. I went, maybe I do need, because it's more than grammar. Okay, the basic free version of Grammarly is spelling and grammar. But then there's Grammarly Premium, and that's what I've been using, and I would highly recommend to everybody. It's an advanced punctuation checker, structure, style within context. When you're writing a business proposal, that's different than an academic essay or a blog post. So it understands that and will help you write appropriately for the venue. It'll give you vocabulary suggestions. It'll suggest, do you mean bow, not button? Conciseness. The readability score is very useful. I think Grammarly is amazing. It is a communication tool that helps you improve your writing so you're mistake-free. That's always good. But even better, clear and effective. It helps you do your best work. And as a result, accomplish more of your goals. Easily improve your communication at school and work with Grammarly. It has a browser extension. It has a desktop editor. It has a mobile keyboard checker. Will work everywhere you are. No more misspelled emails because you were using a phone. You'll close more deals at work this year with your pitched notes. You'll polish your resume to get that job. That's a good phrase. Elevate your writing with Grammarly Premium. You can get 20% off right now. Grammarly Premium, if you go to Grammarly, GrammarlyRly.com/twig. I revere Paul Thurrott. He's a professional writer, great, talented guy. I think his writing is super good. He recommended Grammarly the other day. It was his tip of the week on Windows Weekly. I said, they're a sponsor. He said, no, I did not. He uses it. To me, that says enough. Grammarly.com/twig. 20% off your Grammarly premium account right now. Thank you, Grammarly, for supporting This Week in Google.
I use Grammarly. I totally use
Harvard uses Grammarly.
I thought you're the one person who doesn't
very much depend on Grammarly.
No, you know what? We all use it at Twit now, and it's really good.
So who else? So it always tells me I'm in the 99th percentile for
me too.
What is it? Productivity?
Oh no.
And I'm like,
I'm a number of words used.
Oh, I'm just productivity. I'm like, what does that even measure?
Category
it finds whatever you're good
at. Makes up a category.
It's really basically, Stacey, it's just saying to you, man, you write a lot.
I do, but it's like, oh, your errors are just really basic. Gosh, child.
I'm probably one percentile in productivity. I don't write at all.
Okay, I was just curious what other people got as their you.
The Verge says Pixel 4 is the most leaked phone ever, partly with the help of Google, by the way.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, these are pro Google leaks.
Yeah, we now know there is going to be an orange one as well as a black and white one.
Coral.
Man, now I feel bad.
Coral.
Oh no, I hate their coral. Never mind. I don't feel so bad.
Is that really coral? It looks more orange.
That's what they're calling.
They're calling it coral. They always have weird names.
To some people, they'll market it as the Trump phone and it'll be fine.
Oh gosh. Well, maybe I won't. Maybe I won't.
No,
get that,
orange
then.
is like my favorite color.
It's Cheeto colored.
It is far from Cheeto.
Big camera square around back. Everybody's doing it. Everybody's doing it now. This big bump.
Everybody
Apple's
except
doing it too.
OnePlus. OnePlus doesn't seem to.
No, I love the OnePlus too. They don't even have a notch.
All right.
They don't even have anything.
Does it have to bump because the phone's too thin for?
Yeah.
What is it?
So it turns out the quality of the phone is somewhat reliant on the depth that the camera has, the lens to the sensor. So all of the better phones now. By the way, I loved it. John Gruber today in Daring Fireball said, why don't they just call it the eye camera and be done with it? They didn't even mention that it makes phone calls at the Apple event. Does anybody use their phone to make phone calls? It's a camera, right? No. So as the cameras get better on these eye cameras, you're going to see these bumps just because you need that. It's the eye camera.
Yeah.
So they just call it the eye camera and be done with it. Is there a fingerprint reader? Even with all the leaks, we still don't know. We do know the project solely will be used for better face recognition. I'm not a fan of face recognition, mostly because it works pretty well in almost all environments. But the one time my iPhone, I can't ever get to wake it up, is when my face is on the pillow squished like that.
Right.
And then it says, I don't know, what are you, a dog? What are you?
Are you a corpse?
I don't recognize you.
Are you having a stroke?
Blink. Are you having a stroke? So it's not good in bed at night, but every other place it seems to work pretty well. I've kind of gotten, used to it. I wish it had both.
Just give me the fingerprint scanner. And
it
I'm
works
good
so
to
well
go.
on the Pixel 3. It's so good. You're a Pixel 3 guy, right?
I am.
Yeah. I told Ant yesterday that you're going to be a Pixel 4 guy. He was happy to hear that.
I was happy. I was happy to hear it.
We told him when you were gone to just look very poor and whiny about how he really
has to have
would
a
be
Pixel 4.
really nice to have a 4.
We have a good division here of people who use iPhones and Android phones, but we got to make sure we keep parity so that the Android phones are well represented.
Oh, is that your excuse, Ant? I'm sorry.
Wait,
I'll do Android if you
Look, he's using Windows. My God.
Right. And I'm like the only person using Windows at the studio as well.
Pretty much.
Oh yeah, because Paul's not at the.
No.
Wait, I have it. So is the coral? Is that going to be like a Clemson orange?
That's
a
what
good
I'm
question.
hoping. That's what I'm hoping.
That's Ant's dream. He just put a little tiger paw on that.
Put a paw on it. I'd have one on the screen and on the back.
Yeah,
Beautiful.
the ad in Times Square is not looking quite that orange.
Oh, we should see that. Yeah, because they Google really leaning into the leaks has now posted a big ad on Times Square with the picture of the Coral phone. So
it's not
knows.
leaning in when you're sending these units out. I still believe
that's not a leak.
those
That
units.
is early PR.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As I said on All About Android, that's marketing 201.
Is that
at
a better
some schools.
strategy than Apple's strategy, which is to keep it secret?
I think so. Just go ahead and embrace it.
Especially if you can't stop the leaks.
Right. Just go ahead and embrace it.
So Apple tries but fails.
You know,
There
if
it
they,
is.
if
People are
they put a bullet
disappointed.
in Mark Gurman, they'd be fine. But that guy's good.
Apple pulls a lot of energy just trying to stop it and get stuff taken down. Why burn all those
folks,
calories? Just roll with it.
And don't you think that part of this is that these days, after all the secrecy with Apple, people end up being disappointed in the announcement?
Yeah.
This is true.
Right, it's a letdown. So now with Google, there's no letdown.
You know what
it
you're
is.
getting.
You actually get to see it. You know, to me, if you had something really major like a spectacular new Pixelbook, you might want to keep that fairly secret.
I would like to have a little bit of an excitement when these events come around, but I get it. It keeps all of the disappointment at bay, allegedly.
Yeah.
This
I kind
was
of think these events are silly now. I was reflecting upon this because Apple, with their event, they've got all this pressure to like create this big bang buzz kind of thing happening. Right. And right now we're not at a phase. So it feels like, you know, when you're a kid and you stop believing in Santa Claus and Christmas is maybe you don't have anything awesome coming.
Don't tell Leo.
Really?
I believe in Santa Claus. By the way, I just want to point out, if you don't believe in Santa Claus, he doesn't bring you gifts.
Oh, that's my
the point
problem.
is, you don't feel it. It feels like you just go through the motions, and I feel
Wasn't
like
that what Corey Lewandowski said in his testimony in front of Congress? He said, because the guy said, I don't believe this anymore than I believe the Tooth Fairy. And Corey said, my kids are watching.
Oh man,
Corey.
Oh, well, that's the least of their problems.
Corey.
Stacey.
So, Stacey, you're channeling Charlie Wartzel, who is a tech writer for the New York Times, now also opinion writer, who just a couple of days ago published this opinion piece, The Last Apple Keynote, Let's Hope.
Oh, I didn't see
The
that.
company's product launch pageant has become a parody. Time to call it quits.
Well, I haven't read this, but does he go into the fact that we may just be at a point of not necessarily stagnation, but innovation stagnation? You know, there's only so much we can do with these phones now.
Exactly.
There's other devices that they're launching.
He says, what started as a Steve Jobs TED Talk has become a parody. This is his chief point. A decadent pageant of Palo Alto executives clothed in their finest dad casual, reading ad copy as lead-in for vaguely sexual jump cut videos of brushed aluminum under nightclub lighting. The events,
hot take of hot takes.
I know, I love it. The events are exhausting love letters to consumerism, complete with rounds of applause from the laptop-lit faces of the tech blogging audience when executives mention that you can hold the future in your hands for just $24.95 a month or $5.99 with trade-in.
The tech bloggers are not the ones applauding.
Yes,
yeah,
John
those are the
Gruber
Apple
was quick to
people.
point out that that's not who's applauding.
Yeah, that's the staff, right?
Yeah, Gruber said it really isn't a press event very much. At Steve Jobs Studio doesn't have a lot of room, so it's not a lot of press. It's mostly Apple employees who are, and certainly those are the ones cheering. At least I hope so. Here's Matt Honen's tweet. Apple serving gilded desserts at today's event sure does seem symbolic of something. That is a gilded macaron.
And a lemon bar? Is that a lemon bar?
Yeah, it looks like a luscious. I have to say, I haven't been to an Apple event since 2010.
Stacey's reverse engineering the desserts.
But they've really upgraded the stale muffins they served back in the day.
It's like green stuff. Wait. Go back down. What's it looks like some green thing.
Like
kombucha?
Soylent?
No, it's a smoothie, you guys.
But honestly,
It's
these
like-
are much fancier than they used to do.
Superfood.
Yeah, it's superfood.
I appreciate Apple putting their effort in to try to give it a little bit of pizzazz and some showmanship and marketing, if you will. But at the end of the day, it's still pretty hard to sexy up a phone because they're all doing pretty much the same thing, whether it's an Apple phone, Google phone, Huawei. Everybody's pretty much doing the same thing.
Young man, I'm old enough to remember when people would sleep out in line for
I
2
remember
days
that
to get one
too.
of these new phones.
I was one of the people who did it.
I remember that too, and I thought they were nuts.
So
Yeah, I agree.
Gruber pointed
Leo
out.
was hey, the boss. You just called the boss nuts, but that's okay.
Gruber pointed
Not the
out
first time.
on Daring Fireball that he would not want to be in Tim Cook's shoes when he goes to the board and says, "Oh, by the way, guys, we're not going to be doing these events anymore."
Right.
He says, "Look at we don't get numbers from Apple about how many people watch the events." But look at the YouTube. For the first time, they put it on YouTube. 4.2 million views of this event since September 10th on YouTube. Apple has 10 million YouTube subscribers. This is not for the press anymore. This is for the public.
Right.
This is for Apple fans. And it works. It sells phones.
They're going to keep selling.
But as the public, I mean, we're going to keep going because you get the most page views when you do Apple stuff. But honestly, it's...
Hey, I'm not doing this for page views. What do you think?
I'm just saying that's why, I mean...
What do you think? This is a podcast network?
Oh, but honestly, I'm not doing it because...
This was my job. We used to have to track all this. And this is where, I mean, September was always the biggest month. I'm sorry,
hurt
Leo.
That you think that we do this for the page views. I do it because I care. I do it because it's a good
about
topic.
The page views.
No.
I
have never done anything to increase the audience on this show. I think everybody will agree.
No comment.
Our marketing staff would agree with that statement.
That's their job, not mine. I'm here to give you great content, and I believe great content will be all I'll have to do.
Definitely.
Everybody's laughing at me now. Lisa's in here going, yeah, right, that's what I do. The NLRB has ordered Google to let employees speak out on political and workplace issues. This is a settlement. There were complaints that Google was restraining free speech. In fact, remember when Google said, we're not going to allow any more political speech on our internal bulletin boards.
What this is talking about,
this is
them
public
talking to
protests.
the public.
Yeah.
Public,
including about salaries.
Oh, NLRB said you can talk about salaries.
Yeah, that's so I think in these cases we've got to ask a few things. Number one, we've got to ask, were the complainants purely political on one side of things, and was the process purely political, or was this a legitimate process? We're forced to ask this all the time.
It's so sad that this is the state of the nation.
Yeah.
It could be legitimate. It could be, one wing versus the other says, you're being mean to us. You can't talk. I find it odd to say, I mean, listen, to say that you can talk publicly about how your employer does bad things, yes. But beyond that, to force the ability to do political speech in a company, outside the company, sure. Inside, to reveal salaries. So I don't know how to read this one.
Well, I should be able to tell people my salary if I want to.
Yeah, this is a historic tension between employees and employers. Employers, of course, want employees to be in the dark about what the other employers are making.
All right. HR standpoint.
It gives us, there's two arguments. One is it just breeds discontent, but the other argument, which is probably the more realistic argument, is we don't want you negotiating
based on
somebody else. We don't, I don't want Aunt coming to me saying, you're paying Micah what? Mm-hmm. So it's best if nobody knows that. On the other hand, employees, it absolutely is important. It's very valuable. That's why there's websites where you go and see what the typical salaries are for people, because it gives you power to negotiate. So I have to wear two hats because I am both an employer and an employee. And I would like to tell you how much I make, but I actually don't know.
No idea.
Lisa lets you know at the end of every month or the end of every year.
No, I'm not allowed to tell myself how much I make. It's against the rules. Mm-hmm. So, no, actually, I really don't.
Lisa only tells him when he doesn't make enough to get what he wants.
Well, the problem is, okay, so nobody cares about this, but this is an LLC.
Yep.
So it's pass-through taxation. So basically, our tax return, because Lisa and I file jointly, is what we make.
Right.
But it's really, but the company, it's like a bigger entity. And I definitely know I don't get whatever that is, because I am definitely not getting all that money.
Right.
I think somebody else is, but I don't know.
Appreciate you having me.
Yeah, thank you. I hope you're happy. Hey, we had to get him to move out here from North Carolina. Google Nest.
You're getting paid in Outback Steakhouse gift certificates, right?
Yes.
That's what I'm getting paid in.
All the queso you can eat, Stacey.
All the bloomin' onions on
Bloomin' onions everywhere. Google is apparently, according to 9to5 Google, planning a new Wi-Fi hub. It won't look like the old one. This is an artist's rendering. The old Wi-Fi with a Google Home Assistant on top of it. It will not look like that either. Don't get excited.
It's well lit.
That is clever.
Doing a mock-up right now.
That is clever.
You just need the duct tape. So Kevin broke this story. I just have to give props to Kevin all the way back in April. because he found the chip in the language in Chromium for Mistral, and then did all this other stuff related to it. So I just want to give a big shout out to Kevin Toffel.
Absolutely.
Yay,
and again, he'll be on next week. We'll be talking about this.
That's awesome.
The 9 to 5 Google post says, according to sources familiar with the matter, Google will announce this new router at the event on October 15th. The Nest Wi-Fi, everything's going to be Nest now, isn't it?
All their home products are now Nest, yes.
Yeah, Nest Wi-Fi router will be accompanied by little beacons that double as assistant speakers. That's nice. So you can assistant everywhere. I'll be listening everywhere. Did you watch?
No cameras, all right.
Did you watch Succession on Sunday? So Tom, who is just complete mess up, has a new slogan for the news network ATN. We're listening. And his assistant, Cousin Greg, oh, I'm sorry, he wants to be called Gregory now. Cousin Gregory comes up and says, we can't use that. Tom says, why? Well, because we actually are listening.
Oh, man.
It turns out the set-top boxes we've sent everybody have microphones. And, well, it's fairly aggressively listening.
About that.
So,
yeah.
So then, well, what about we hear you? No, that's the same thing.
So I'm behind 2 episodes.
Oh,
so don't give anything away.
You're going to laugh. They ended up with the slogan, "We here for you." It is
like a Silicon Valley episode.
It is terrible. It is actually comedic. It's the most comedic of episodes.
What is this show? Succession?
Oh, it's on it's
it's amazing.
It's HBO. HBO is so good.
I need to.
Did they get Leo? Did they get the? I saw a lot of comment going on about the Allen summer camp.
It was Argestes.
They nailed that.
They call it Argestes. It is absolutely nailed, right down to the what was it? Oh God, I can't remember the exact name. What's the European airline? The Airbus Eco Walk lecture.
What?
They walk over a bridge in ponchos while they're talking about their commitment to sustainable something or other.
Wow.
You're gonna love it, Jeff. Have you been to Allen & Co.?
No.
Oh, okay, but you've been to Davos. You've been to enough things
Davos,
like it.
Yeah. There were a lot of Davos jokes
that you'll probably recognize it. Oh, it's the best show on TV. So good now. In fact, if you're too behind, the episode you're about to see next is absolutely one of the best shows I've ever seen.
Wow.
So good. All right. I don't know. I got off track. The assistant. We hear you.
The router.
We're listening. So now you'll have devices with microphones in every room of the home. Sources say Google's adopting an Eero-like package with the Nest Wi-Fi. Really, but that was always the pitch of the Google Wi-Fi, was that it was mesh, right?
Right.
It's the assistant that's the cool new part.
They're adding
but
the
yes,
assistant.
it was always mesh.
The smaller devices will double as assistant speakers as well as microphones, while the main router will not.
Oh.
Which is odd.
I'd like to see that in action.
Yeah. And you'll be able to use it with your old Google Wi-Fi hardware. So if you have existing hardware, it'll still work.
But not
Wi-Fi
Wi-Fi 6.
Wi-Fi 6.
Not Wi-Fi 6.
Ooh, Wi-Fi 6. I use Eeros, of course. I think they'll probably have to do hardware, right, Stacey? You can't do a software upgrade, so I have to do a hardware upgrade.
Yeah, this will need new hardware.
They're a sponsor, but I also use Netgear's Orbeez, and they've already announced Wi-Fi 6 Orbeez. So
I'm telling you,
But again,
don't
it
need
don't
no
matter
one.
for the home, right?
I don't need it. I know.
Don't run out and buy a new router for this.
Okay.
Unless you're buying a router. If you're buying a router, look for
They
it.
have 60 devices plus.
Stacey said so.
Okay.
But dude, they're not going to work. Right. You're going to have to get all new devices that are Wi-Fi 6
that's right. They have to be
compatible.
Wi-Fi
Like Stacey, that just gives them the excuse to buy all those new devices.
I can buy new devices.
They're not out
You
yet.
got to get
so
into
he's gonna
Leo's
wait.
head here.
I can buy new devices. As you
Plant
say,
the
buy new
seed.
devices.
Plant the seed.
Stacey told me. Wait, don't tell Lisa any of this. Lisa, I didn't say that he should buy new devices.
No, I'm not buying a new device. Google has published a paper on the Google AI blog about using deep learning to inform differential diagnoses of skin diseases. AI is slowly marching into medicine. We've seen in the past that AI did a pretty good job interpreting X-rays, doing the job of a radiologist. General practitioners, when shown images of skin conditions, are between 24 and 70% accurate. Your GP. If you're a dermatologist, it's much better, 77 to 96% accurate. But a lot of people can't get to a dermatologist, or they don't have the access to a dermatologist. So that's why there's this interest. It's not that dermatologists don't do a very good job. They know what they're looking at.
Right.
But it would help.
Well, it would take me 6 to 8 weeks to get into a dermatologist.
Yes.
So if I thought I had some sort of cancerous lesion.
There you go. Yeah.
I mean, I guess then it might be like, yes, this is 75% likely to be melanoma. Then I'd be like, ah.
Well, how soon before it's an app? Cancer app.
It should be. So
okay, so that's an interesting question. Should it be? Because of this, again, if we don't have the medical infrastructure to help me out, I see this, then I go to my doctor. My doctor doesn't know how credible it is. Is this going to be FDA approved? I don't know. And the FDA
so I
currently
have my Cardia.
Well, yeah.
Right? My Cardia.
But that has been approved.
It has been approved. And it doesn't just do a good EKG. It reads the EKG and says whether I'm an AFib in a reliable way because of machine learning.
Oh, that's interesting. This is the AliveCore product. It's $99. Works with a smartphone. Did you get the new Cardia? Kardia.
Is there a new Cardia?
I think there is.
There is, yeah.
AliveCore.
This matters to me.
Yeah.
I think isn't it a watch?
Let me go to their website and see. AliveCore.com.
I don't see anything. Oh, there it is. Cardia 6L.
Have you had occasion
there's more diodes.
Oh, yeah.
There it is. 6 views of the heart, 6 times the data.
That's cool.
Oh.
It's a 6-lead EKG. So this was, of course, the original Cardia was 2 leads, 2 thumbs. Right. The Apple Watch is 2 leads. You put your finger on the stem, and then it reads your wrist. A traditional EKG is 12 leads, and of course, much more accurate as a result. This is a 6-lead, though. That's pretty good.
How does it do 6 leads from just 2 fingers?
I don't know. Science.
AI.
You have all the answers.
I don't know. It's got 2 sensors on top and now a third on the bottom. So you put it on your thigh. So your left leg. So
I got to pull my pants up, or I got to start wearing skirts.
Wear skirts.
Larger muscles.
Actually, it's an excuse to wear shorts. In fact,
can you do it?
You don't want to see
I'm wearing shorts.
You do not want to see me in shorts.
Yeah.
My thighs have not seen sunlight since 1976. You don't want to see me in shorts. Oh,
you're probably a Fitzpatrick type 1.
What's that?
Well, I was reading on this. It turns out this is relevant to the Google AI skin thing. There are these Fitzpatrick types. There are 6 of them. Type 1, pale white, always burns, never tans. Is that you?
I burn.
Yeah. Type 6, darkest brown, never burns. The best accuracy was achieved on 2 through 4. So not quite as accurate on darker skins or yours, really pale skin. The accuracy was similar to, actually even a little bit better than the general practitioner, 69 to 72% accurate. The top 3 accuracy, 91 to 94% accurate.
That's pretty strong.
It's good enough. Gives you some idea.
And I like that they had to partition out the data so they could say it's accurate on this type of skin.
Isn't that interesting?
Which really matters.
This is what you should do with face recognition.
Well, it's really critical, important with race as well, and what the learning set is.
Yes.
Right. Well, this gets to this FDA thing I was trying to talk about, which is as we start bringing in machine learning products into medical devices, which is important, we're going to need a process for when they retrain their algorithms for making sure that it works better than the other one, for example. So just like if you have a new formulation of the drug, you have to go through new testing things. The FDA is trying to figure out what's the process by which you should update your machine learning algorithms in a medical device. And I think it's really fascinating because they're talking about how to do reproducibility, how to make sure your data sets are all like a good sample size, I guess. It's a really tough problem.
Things.
Yeah, well, and standardize it and also do it in a way to make sure that, the Fitzpatrick 1 people also, who this is not going to work for example.
Yeah.
It's trying to not get rid of bias, but address it and make sure that people are aware of it and it's communicated.
In his piece that we already mentioned, Ben Evans uses the now classic example with AI that if you have a bunch of pictures with rulers on them next to the lesion, that at some point, if you don't do things right, your AI will identify skin with rulers as skin with cancer.
Period. Right.
Excellent example. Yeah. Every time I see a ruler, there's cancer.
Cancer.
Right.
Wow. That's how dumb these things are.
Yeah.
If you want to get the new Cardia Mobile 6L, Jeff, it's $150.
I'm about to get it. I'm going to get it. $149.
Still very reasonable, and of course, you need a smartphone. Extremely. This is the.
That's all, really?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, the old one's $199
for that tech.
This is the magnifying factor. It's like who was it? Archimedes said, "Give me a lever and a proper fulcrum, and I can move the world." This is the fulcrum. Is the smartphone. You are carrying a supercomputer in your pocket. If it weren't for that, you couldn't do the Cardia Mobile or a whole lot of other things. And it's because you
couldn't put rabbit ears on yourself.
We just rather take selfies.
Slowfies, please.
Slowfies.
That's something you can't do on that new Pixel 4. At least I don't think
Thank goodness.
Yeah.
Wait, what's a slowfie?
Oh, you didn't watch the Apple event.
I'm sorry, I didn't know.
So actually, this is one thing that I think is culturally telling. The new iPhone will have 3 lenses on the back, kind of a telephoto, medium, and ultra wide. All 12 megapixels. Mm-hmm. It will have, for the first time, an equivalent 12 megapixel camera on the front. Normally, these front-facing cameras are lower quality, so the selfies are a little lower quality. And for the first time ever, this 12 megapixel camera on the front can do slow motion. So get ready for slow motion selfies.
Got it. Oh.
So
great.
Micah and I are watching the event. Mike is typing furiously as this is a. So what are you doing? He says, "I'm getting the domain slowfies.com." I said, I said, Micah, it's not spelled with a PH. He bought 2 or 3 domains, SLOPHIES. Poor kid.
Nice work, Micah.
He was so mad.
But that's how you sell phones, though.
And web domains, apparently.
One thing that the Google, the Pixel 4 will have, though, it looks like, is astrophotography mode.
Oh, yeah, they talked about this last night.
They talked about that last night on All About Android.
And this comes from a video that Google, see, this is the question. It was a leaked video.
No, it's released if Google sent it out.
Well, Google didn't send it out, but somebody found it. And it showed astrophotography. Now, astrophotography, John's done a lot of this. John, of course, tripod, right? Because the camera cannot move.
It's a must.
Because you're going to do a long exposure. Oh, you've done it too, of course.
It's a must.
How long is the exposure typically?
You can start out at 30 seconds.
Too long and you'll see star trails. You might want to see star trails. So it depends whether you want to see star trails or you just want to see the stars brighter against the background and all that. But that's something that traditionally you'd use a fancy camera and a tripod for. Mm-hmm. The thought that you could do this with a camera phone is mind-boggling.
And being able to get that infinity focus on a phone.
Well, that's another thing, isn't it?
You know.
Oh.
This is, okay, again, a quote, leaked promo video. It's definitely made by Google, the video. Go ahead and play it. This is from proandroid.com. And it's just showing a lot of what happens when people who made this, YouTube and Google Maps. I like this ad. This is probably going to be one of the ads for the Pixel 4. Mm-hmm. Then, the Google way made this, a smartphone. And then they show some of the features, the gestures. You get an assistant. Of course, we all know that. It's fast. When you say, hey, you know who, show me my photos of Tokyo, the ones with food, share this. Look at that. Pretty cool with Jen. That's, we all know about that. Now they're showing the camera bump. Helps you get perfect photos. And then here's the even in the dark. So there's night sight. Apple, of course, achieved night sight parity with the new iPhone.
Right.
You even get the stars. Now, that is a star field. They don't show you how you do it. It's a setting. I'd be very curious. Wouldn't you? You have to have a tripod.
Get yourself a tripod. I have a smartphone tripod mount that I use for long exposures with my phone.
Yeah.
And you're going to have this extra computational photography in it now. I think it's just going to up the game a little bit.
Astrophotography. They talked about it last night if you want to watch and learn more.
All about Android.
I first bought my smartphone tripod.
I sat right over there.
What were you saying, Stacey? You've got a smart...
I bought my first smartphone tripod way back in the day when I bought a flip camera. And I used it for that. Now I just the big downside was when they took out the headphone jack, I suddenly lost my ability to do that.
That was the release.
Flips were going to change the world, weren't they? Now everybody can have a camera. Little did I know.
This is actually another thing that you can blame on smartphones. The death, really, of the camcorder. What do you need a camcorder for? You got a great video camera in your pocket. And to some degree, the death... Yeah, we, by the way, bought up the entire stock of Canon Vixia camcorders for this network. And then, by the way, the almost death of point-and-shoot cameras. You hardly see point-and-shoot cameras anymore, right?
No, you see those artsy-fartsy people.
Oh, you mean like the lomography, like the kind of intentionally bad Russian...
and Ohm is not artsy-fartsy, but he is kind of artsy-fartsy. He'll understand when I call him that. But he doesn't shoot with digital anymore. He only shoots film.
He shoots film?
Oh, geez.
Oh, yeah.
He's a good photographer.
He's a very good
photographer. But,
that's the I don't own a television of 2019.
There you go. The impact of smartphones on the camera industry. This is from CIPA and Statista.com. And you see the rise, the blue line of the camera, the digital camera, real great until the digital phone came out, and boom, it just plummets and the lines cross.
But they need to break that down a little bit. This is all
cameras. This is not just point-and-shoot cameras. This is
all cameras.
They need to break that down a little bit more, because there are people with a awesome iPhone camera, awesome Galaxy camera that still walks up and asks me, hey, what camera should I go buy?
Yeah. But these are hobbyists now. These are enthusiasts. These are not regular people.
Right.
And honestly, I don't think that's a bad thing. I think almost any high-end smartphone today takes superb pictures.
Great pictures.
Better than many point-and-shoot cameras. And if you're not an accomplished photographer, maybe even better than a very fancy camera.
Very much so.
Yeah, because it's doing all the work.
It is.
Computational photography.
So I'm looking at Om Malik's film. The problem with doing film, does he develop it himself?
Yeah, where do you get it processed anymore?
I mean, there are labs.
No, there's labs out there.
I don't know.
But you know what they do mostly?
They just scan.
Porn? They scan them. Then you import them into...
He has digital files he'll send you of the pictures. So I'm not 100% sure. But
look at this article that Om just wrote, September 3rd. Camera sales are falling sharply. We're in the end times for camera sales. It's like a record player. It's become a specialty product.
Although record players are coming back.
Okay, so the stat is vinyl records outsold CDs for the first time ever, right?
Right.
Because no one's buying CDs.
But they want to buy vinyl now.
Howard Stern makes such fun of Gary Dell'Abate for getting vinyl. Because it's the most ridiculous habit on earth. We probably should steal something out of the changelog because it's relevant. CBS story.
Let me scroll down.
Google Photos gets same-day pickup for prints at CVS. That's brilliant, I think.
Oh, that is brilliant, because I can't tell you how many times my daughter still has to print photographs for school. It drives me nuts.
You got the fancy printer. It's a pain in the butt to do it. They would go to the...
Well, it also saves, because CVS has a big photo processing printer in the back.
All of the great equipment, great ink.
They spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on it. So now what you do is you actually can do this in Google Photos, and you say, I'll pick it up at my local CVS.
I think that's
now,
awesome.
I don't know how good the prints are. It's using a Kodak system called Moments.
We used to send ours to Walmart when we had to do these.
Or Best Buy or Costco.
They were fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've done.
But doing
Walmart
it straight
and
from
CVS.
Google Photos is actually kind of nice.
That's pretty funny.
My son
It is,
still
isn't it?
prints his photos.
I like photo books.
He still prints his.
I
He'll
think
go out and shoot.
there's
with the
something
Pixel.
about having prints that's
especially when you have
nice.
kids. My kids would just pull down the photos themselves and spend hours going. It's certain ego of a child,
Going through.
but they
Here's-
go through all those photos.
Yeah.
Here's a flip. When you have these Google devices, so I have one that's sitting on my desk and it shows all my Google Photos, which, by the way, my husband, like, if I'm taking a picture of something, he's like, you probably want to delete that receipt so it doesn't show up on your Google Photos in a few minutes. But
Oh, wait a
and
minute.
he's right.
No, wait a
But-
minute. Google Photos, you've not seen this? Probably because you're deleting receipts. After a while, Google Photos will say, I have all of these receipts. You want me to move these to the archives? You don't want these in the
Yeah.
photos, do you? They offer that for screenshots and receipts. It knows.
And whiteboards.
And whiteboards?
I've seen archives for something else. I didn't know it was just
Yeah, it's smart.
interesting.
But it is smart. But this is things like, take a picture of this mole. No one wants to see that up close on the,
Nope.
I don't know.
We're going to
if-
send that to
yeah.
Google's health thing for the melanoma diagnosis. Anyway, the point is my daughter and her friends will sit there in front of this photo display
Looking at
and
the
just
receipts?
watch it.
Oh, yes.
Not the receipt.
That's why I like
So
my
I
Nest
wonder
Hub
if, like-
Max.
Yeah, I mean,
I
I
love
think
it.
it's perfect for that.
So
I would show
what you
you-
can do with the Nest Hub and the Nest Hub Max is you can have a photo slideshow, but it lets you say, oh, this person, and this person. So it uses face recognition. So
wow.
any picture of me, Lisa, or my kids, it goes in there. And it's
This is
pictures.
like-
I have pictures from almost 20 years of photography. Yeah, there you go. Isn't that awesome?
Pretty
So you
cool.
see, is that your wedding?
No, we were at a thing. I'm trying to, there's my dog.
Yeah.
And you can pick which albums that you
No,
want
you can
to
either
see.
go by albums, but I go by face recognition.
by-
So then it's everything. It's if it's a picture of one of my kids, or if it's a picture basically of a family member, it shows that. And it's fun because you get, I'll wake up and I'll look over and there's a picture from 15 years ago of my son.
Right.
And it's like, oh,
Yeah. That awe moment.
I love it.
No.
Yeah,
Well,
they're
it
super
solves
nice
a-
to have around the house.
It solves a problem because we take so many pictures that we're probably never going to see again.
True.
So it's nice to have a way to kind of get those pictures back to life.
That's pretty slick.
Well, and I will also say that when my daughter was in Spain, we synced up her account. We shared a Google account, a photo album with the family that was hosting her.
Oh, that's
so
nice.
as they took pictures of her,
Yes.
then they would just pop up and circulate through on our photo display. And that was super fun, I thought.
That's very sweet. Very nice.
But they also took pictures of Anna and us, and they actually printed them out and stuck them in a frame in her little room that she was staying in. So look, both high tech and low tech, very special.
Oh, I get it. Ohm is shooting with a Leica SL film camera.
Oh yeah, Yes, he
I
is.
get it. He's always been a Leica guy, but he's
because-
gone to film now.
That's outstanding.
Yeah. He says 2/3 of my photos are shot with a camera on a tripod. So he's one of those guys.
Because he has to.
he's what a yeah.
Quite frankly, he has to.
He's really thinking
They're beautiful
about it.
photos.
No, they're gorgeous. They're art.
Yeah, I actually I have printed some up and I'm waiting for them to arrive. When they
Nice.
arrive, I can show you guys.
Very
That's
nice.
awesome,
There's
man.
Venice at night.
Yeah.
Nice. So I went on a photo expedition some years ago with my good friend Michael Olin, who's a great photographer, to Tasmania in Australia, and all of us, Peter Krogh, Michael, there were about 20 pros. It was 2 weeks, typically 6,000, 7,000, 8,000 photos. Because it's digital, you're shooting. There was one guy, Charlie, who was he was shooting a medium format, big.
Ooh.
He had like 30.
Yeah. Yeah.
He also brought with him a cardboard frame that he would carry around, looking at things to see what it was going to look like in the shot. Everything
He's
was
got to
very,
be methodical.
It was very methodical. Those view cameras. Isn't that? I mean, it's art. It's wonderful, and I think that's what's going to end up happening to photography. You and I are big photo buffs, but it's going to be photo buffs because everybody else is just going to use their camera,
Yep.
phone.
Kevin pointed out another additional thing about the Google photo frame, should anyone care.
Yes.
You can actually create public albums and people can subscribe to them. So if you wanted to, you could subscribe to Kevin's Dogs album.
Ooh.
Well, you know who did that first?
I thought that was already available in Google Photos.
You know who did that
first?
first?
Totally, yeah, it's in Google Photos,
Mike
but now you
Elgin
can see
did it. Remember Mike when he got off Facebook, he's created Mike's Nice Book, which was how he shared photos with everybody. And it's pretty much every day I get, Mike has uploaded 10 more pictures to Mike's Nice Book. I think I might have unsubscribed. I'm not saying I have. I'm not saying I haven't. Sorry, Mike.
We
but
know
that's
you still love Mike.
No, I love Mike. It's a good idea. No, mostly it's because I'm jealous because of all his pictures. I'm in Prosecco now.
Right.
Oh, I'm in the south of France now. Get out of here.
In Provence.
Get out of here. YouTube is shutting down. Actually, before we do that, let me do a break, and then I will tell you what YouTube is shutting down. Our show today, it's great to have Aunt Pruitt on the panel with us.
Yes, it is.
Thank you,
Appreciate
Aunt,
it.
for being here.
Appreciate you having
Always been happy when he's on the show.
Aunt has this nice, calm, centered.
I try.
It's true.
Feeling,
When Jeff
isn't
and
it?
I are yelling at each other, Ant's just like,
Yeah.
Shaking his head.
I have a
Yeah,
thought.
usually I'm shaking my head.
You people.
We're not yelling at each other. We're yelling about things with each other.
You know what is neat, though?
Oh, no, I'm yelling at you, Jeff.
I think this is because
Like, listen to me.
I think this because Aunt was brought up in, was it Alabama? Mississippi? Carolina, South Carolina? Sorry.
Carolina.
It was one of them southern states. He calls Lisa Miss Lisa.
Yes.
He calls people Miss Stacey. And what do you do with guys, though? You don't call him Mr. Jeff.
You are Mr. Leo, and that's
Really?
Mr. Karsten.
That's Mr.
Mr.
Yeah.
Carson?
That's just because of Harvard.
That is not because of Harvard.
It's very sweet, but I'm trying to break him of it.
I don't know
like
if that'll
it.
happen. It is what it is.
And yeah, I like the and your
if
kids
I
do
didn't
this.
like you, you would be Leo.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, so Mr. Leo is better.
It's because I like you.
And I'm sure this is true in Texas too, sir and ma'am all the time. Yeah, I like it. It's
You got to get you to New Jersey to say, yo,
yo, how you doing, Mr. Leo?
yo,
That's
Yo.
normally how I tweet.
yo.
Leo, hey, Leo. How you doing? That's Jeff Jarvis there. He's in Times
I'm
Square.
in Jersey. You
Now
got a
he's in
problem with that?
Jersey. Yeah, no. No, I don't got a problem. You're in the nice part of Jersey, though. You're not in the Jersey
It's all
Shore.
nice, Leo. What are you saying?
No.
There's some nice stuff. What's nice stuff?
Okay.
No, it's all nice.
If
Jersey.
you go to New York City and then you cross over the river to Jersey, you're going to see a different kind of Jersey. You're going to say, why do they call this the Garden State? Because it's kind of industrialized, right? But you're in the beautiful part of
feeding the
Jersey.
needs of America.
That's true. All of those phony flavors they put in McDonald's French fries, those come from New Jersey,
Oh, really?
just over the river.
Because I've passed by. There's
It smells good, doesn't it?
when the roads are really crowded. I pass by this place across from the Essex County Prison.
Is it in Elizabeth?
No,
Because Elizabeth is where they make a lot of the
Home of the food
food
flavoring.
flavor.
there's another food flavor place, and it
Did
looks
not
like
know
the
that.
worst factory you've ever seen.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
But it smells
We're
good.
doing an ad, you guys.
Well, no, actually, this is a good. It smells good though. What does it smell like?
Nothing. It smells like diesel fumes when the truck's going in.
I don't think that's the food flavoring place. That's just a factory.
Does it smell like Mondays?
Wait a
Or
minute.
Sappy?
Well, no, it's a factory of flavor. It is it's a food flavor factory.
Oh,
I was trying to say that 5 times
Food
fast.
Flavor Factory.
Yeah.
Flavor Flav. Here is, by the way, thanks to Giga Stacey in our chat room, Norm's photo album. Norm!
Oh, no.
Kevin Tofel's beautiful. Is he cockapoo?
I think he's a Bichon.
Oh, he's a
isn't he?
Bichon Frisé, yeah.
Oh, no.
See, isn't this great? So anybody could subscribe to this if they knew how. Yeah,
Just
look,
join it.
Join, but you got to have the link. That's the problem, and the link is long.
That's why I put it in the chat room.
Right. Anybody in the chat room can join it. I've just joined it. So now I'm going to get Mike
You may
Elgin's
have
nice
to
book
unsubscribe, yeah.
and Norm.
I follow him on Instagram, so I always see him.
Oh,
Oh, there you
I
go.
prefer this to Instagram. I don't want to participate in the Instagram. That's Stacey Higginbotham, Stacey on IoT.com. Love having Stacey on the show too. I should look forward to this show all week long. Our show today brought to you by a tool that we started using to plan shows that I love called Monday.com. If you play with Monday.com, it's really neat. It helps teams manage work and meet deadlines, but it also builds a culture of transparency. All the knowledge is stored on the Monday.com site so that everybody knows what's going on. Everybody knows who's working on what the state of it is. If you need information, this is where you'll find it. It's the next step past a messaging system or an email system. It lets you manage all your core business activities in one place, from high-level roadmaps, specific day-to-day tasks. Very popular. The more people use this, the more they love it. 65,000 teams now use Monday.com. And I really want you to try it too. Very easy to start. They give you a bunch of templates. Or you can build a board from scratch, or you can take a template and customize it. There are templates for every possible situation. You can automate your workflows with reminders, with notifications. Of course, there are Monday apps for your phone, so you take it with you everywhere. Those notifications can be very useful, but you have complete control over them. It's great for teams of any sizes. A lot of two-person freelance teams in different locations will use Monday.com to organize their work, to stay in touch, to keep things flowing. But there are also teams of thousands using Monday.com all over the globe. It replaces, all the whiteboards, Excel files, and most importantly, replaces long, boring meetings. Stay on track with Monday.com. You'll look forward to Monday. That's why they call it Monday. Create accountability by assigning owners to keep track of who's doing what. Never miss a deadline. With the My Week page, it's basically a personal assistant for you and your team. But it's affordable, it's easy, and you're going to love it. Stay in control anywhere you go with a Monday.com mobile app. I know I try these tools. I'm a serial tool trier. This is the one. You really got to try it. You're going to love it and see what it can do for you. Start your 14-day free trial right now at Monday, Monday, like the day of the week, Monday.com/twig. Monday.com/twig. This is a productivity tool you'll want to use. You'll really want to use. Thank you, Monday, for supporting This Week in Google. Thank you for supporting us by going to Monday.com/twig. I haven't seen the new memories on Google Photos since we're talking about Google Photos. Maybe let's just do the changelog. Let's just do it. This would be changeloggy.
Hear the music.
Surprise, Carson!
Surprise!
So mean.
So mean.
So mean.
The Google changelog.
By the way, Tech in San Diego says he tried the Macallan 25, your pick of the week last week on Windows Weekly.
Oh, no, that was Macallan 12.
Oh, well, he tried the 25.
I see that.
So good and smooth. Best sipping whiskey ever.
I've had the 18. I haven't had the 25, but I've had
25.
The 18.
Yeah. I don't like to drink whiskey.
They don't necessarily get better with age, I'll be honest.
Is that true? Okay. That's good to know.
I mean, it just depends.
Depends on the whiskey.
Depends on the whiskey.
Depends on whiskey and your taste, too. But
right.
I keep palming bottles of half-drunk whiskey off on it because I don't really like it, to be honest.
I'm right here.
Oh, I would give it to you if you really were.
Too late.
Are you a whiskey? You're a whiskey drinker?
I drink both whiskey and gin. I have some lovely whiskey recommendations. Should you ever?
Oh, okay. After the changelog, whiskey time.
Yes.
But you must be 21 to listen to this show. This is enough. No, stop. It's not over. It's not over. Karsten.
Well played, sir. Well played.
Google Photos adds memories. Now, I haven't got this yet. I keep looking for it. It looks a lot like Instagram stories, little circles at the top of your photos. Let me check and see if I got it yet. Last time I checked, I had not. And the idea is it's memories of your life, year by year from the past. I would love that because I put everything in Google Photos. Nope. I got today, yesterday, Monday. I don't have memories.
Do I have my phone in my pocket? Yeah.
I wish I had it.
I have memory.
Oh, you do?
Memory.
So tell us, you like it? Look at it.
I don't know. Relieve your budget. Tap
It's
right
supposedly has
photo.
been rolling out to users since the 12th. I didn't get it.
I have nothing.
These are people I have no idea who I'm sitting next to at a conference. I have zero idea.
You do too
They
many
wanted
things
selfies.
like
I don't know why.
Oh, you shouldn't have
That was
left them
very
in.
uninspiring.
Yeah.
It was a bunch of smiling faces, so Google thought, oh, they're happy. No, it's just me.
It does look for smiles. Do you have it?
I have nothing.
What are those circles at the top? Go back down. No, scroll down.
Oh, it wasn't.
That was just
your
notifications.
Oh. Yeah, it's just notifications.
Okay, so photos, you may have seen the notification saying, here's, rediscover this day. But now they're going to appear as small circles. They'll be at the top, just like Instagram. You tap it, it'll show a selection of photos or videos you took on that day from previous years, starting a year ago and going back as far as Google goes with you, which is, for me, 2000, 19 years.
Yikes.
Mine jumps back further than that, but I think it's just a bug.
Well, I uploaded, Google Photos hasn't been around that long, but I uploaded all my photos to it, basically. I ran the backup thing on my desktop and just put everything in there because it's so useful. Mm-hmm. Probably a mistake, but Google has a new search feature you might like for the fall season. Do they still have a fall TV season? Remember September used to be a big deal?
Oh, do I I had to delay my honeymoon
the
because
final
of that.
season of The Good Place.
That's
the 27th.
That's the final season. So Jeff is, as many of you know, a former TV guide critic. You put off your honeymoon because it was the fall?
We actually, it was sweeps. It was sweeps.
Sweeps.
Yeah, we got married in the fall, and we couldn't go, so we didn't go until December, yeah.
It is what it is.
Oh, I was trying to explain that concept to my daughter because we were watching, I don't remember what we were, but the concept of sweeps week, because she was like, why is this episode so over the top?
It's a very special blossom.
Exactly.
But you know what? It was never a week. It was always a month, but we called it sweeps week.
Yeah. It's just for those who, like your daughter, are befuddled by the term. It's when the ratings. So
ratings were too expensive to do, so you didn't do them all the time. You did them only in certain months.
Right. And so that's when you got to do, get your eyeballs. Get them while you can.
My mother sells ads for a TV station.
Oh, so she knows.
So she knows all about
She knows.
sweeps.
Does she want to come work here? We're kind of like a little TV station.
Well, we could bring my mom's closer.
Would be nice.
2,000 miles closer.
That was the moment there. Do I want my mom here or not?
Yeah.
I want my mom
working.
But do I want her in the same office?
So if you search for things on Google like what to watch, you could choose. Well, let's do it. I want to do it now. Google.com.
Oh, is this active? Does this work?
Oh, I don't know. What to watch. Because it's going to ask you, what do you subscribe to? No, not yet.
Not yet.
So we got a bunch of stuff that doesn't work yet.
Oh, it's giving me top picks for me, and it's asking me to rate things.
There you go. So you're getting it.
Okay. I'm getting it.
Yeah. So.
It does have some. Oh, no.
Didn't hit me.
Oh, no. Did you get that very special blossom?
I got the 90210 reboot. I was like,
no. That's based on your age and gender, I think.
It's actually not, because I looked up Infinity Train recently, and the first thing is like asking me to. It's asking me to rate Infinity Train, which I didn't watch on YouTube. I actually watched it somewhere else.
You searched for it.
I did search for it. Sex in the City? No.
Again, I think that's kind of gender biased.
This is X2 X-Men Unlimited. United something.
There you go.
I don't know if I saw that.
So you choose which TV and movie subscriptions you already have. You'll get personalized recommendations. You'll see where you can watch them. If you starting today in the U.S., when you search for things like good shows to watch on mobile, maybe I have to do it on mobile. You could tap. You could tap the start button in the top picks for you carousel to begin rating shows.
It's actually doing a good job, you guys.
Oh, it's that Google. How do they know?
Google. I rated a bunch of shows, and then now it's given me ideas. And some of them, some of them feel stupid, like Disney's Aladdin. That's not going to work.
I got
Well, they know you have a kid. See, they know stuff.
It's definitely got me nailed.
I got
it's
nothing.
It's all like Star Wars and Marvel crap.
Yeah, it is working on mobile. Available to stream. Recommended for you. 13 Reasons Why. No. Avengers, X-Men, Dark Phoenix, It. Oh, wait a minute. That's not for me. Here's top picks for me. Rate movies and shows.
Yeah, the first thing is popular movies.
It's just popular.
And shows, and the second one
Better
is
Call Saul, love it. Patrick Melrose, love it. But Whiplash, love it. It knows I saw all these. I never saw Pixels, and I don't think I would like it. It's got Adam Sandler. I don't want to see any more Adam Sandler in my life.
It's recommending Succession, even though I don't like that show.
Oh, Deadwood. This is all stuff I watched.
It's telling you that it knows better than you, Stacey.
The West Wing.
Leo likes it. You should too.
You know what? It's doing pretty well. I swiped a bunch of swipe rights. Just a couple of swipe lefts. Okay. New picks coming your way. Silence your phone and dim the lights. Really? So there's popular. Here's the picks for me. All the things I just said yes to. Oh, no. La La Land, The Deuce, The Leftovers, The Righteous Gemstones, Rogue One. So I guess it's what? I'm a type? Is that it?
I think it's doing just a recommendation algorithm. This is not terrible.
It's kind of cool. And if you say, oh, well, okay, I want to see Rogue One, where can I see it? It will then show you YouTube as the primary watch option, but then it shows you other watch options and how much it costs.
It took me down about 8 rows to finally get to something that I'm like, okay, yeah, that's up my alley.
Well, you need to give Google some more information.
Well, I believe it's feeding off
more
of
data.
Everybody else in the house.
Yes. So you see some stuff that others in the
right.
Yeah.
Everybody else in the house, this is the stuff that they would watch. I wouldn't watch it.
I make them watch what I want to watch, so it's perfect for me.
I wish I could.
I usually just leave the room. I like it quiet.
I wish it would ask me which my favorite show, because then I think it'd be kind of fun to be like, by the way, like I love Dairy Girls. That's my new.
Well, did you not get
jam.
the thumbs up, thumbs down?
I did, but it didn't offer me specific shows.
Well, no. So I try to just use the browser search bar and say what to watch. I got nothing. I have to use the bottom of the phone thing.
Apparently, yes, and it's mobile.
Yes.
So that's cool. That's a fun little thing to play with, and actually very, very useful, because that has always been the problem with all these services, is knowing where something is. I actually used to recommend a site called Can I Stream It? Which is canistream.it. And it did the same kind of thing, but this is now doing it. Yeah. This is
when you have all 3 of those things together, you don't know what's playing where, and it's.
Now here's something I would like to use, but I'm not completely clear how this works. Google is going to start highlighting key moments from videos in search. So instead of just listing relevant videos when you search, Google will highlight the most relevant parts of longer videos. And this is the part where I paused, based on timestamps provided by the video creators.
Okay.
So I guess, I mean, this is something for us. We do a lot of video. It would be really nice if people could search for, I want the review of the
Jeff and Stacey screaming about
fighting.
Moral Panic.
Search for Moral Panic, and it would take you right there. That would be really cool.
I was going to ask who they
search for Stacey's sigh.
What's the name of the tool we use to do that in-house? We have a tool we can do. There's
a snipping tool, and then this feature was also built into some other things, but this is not snipping. So you do the search. So here's look at the screen here. So you do the search for something, and then you see it says in this video, and has these dots, and these dots. So this is podcasting for beginners. Here's microphones. It found this. Boom arm, shock. So you can jump right to the part you want. But to make this work, content creators first have to mark up their video with bookmarks. So we're going to have to figure out how to do that, Carson.
A lot of YouTubers are doing that, but
it's using YouTube's engine, I'm sure. Right. Yeah.
The editors have plenty of time. They'll
all right. We got a new task for you, editors.
We'll mark all the videos.
Now, I started off and I didn't tell you what YouTube was shutting down. It's not that big a deal. Maybe it is. It's TV-friendly web interface.
This is kind of a big deal.
This version of YouTube will be going away soon. You'll still be able to view youtube.com, but you're going to need a supported device to get the optimized experience. So it's a lean-back interface that was on a web portal for YouTube. It's going away soon.
I have no problem with that. There's plenty of devices.
Was that like when you Chromecast it, or
no? Look,
was it like?
So I'm on YouTube now, and by the way, this is the thing. It's going away. But you see this different interface? This is kind of like what you would see if you were using a set-top box, a Roku or something like that. So
if you were using the browser on one of those boxes.
No, this is like like Android TV has this interface, right? So this is a lean-back TV experience for a computer, for a browser on a computer, but it's going away. Did you use this, Carson? I bet uses it. A lot of kids use it, like teenagers and stuff.
I don't use it because I use the YouTube app rather than the YouTube web.
Yeah. Right, and you'll get something similar to this. But this is pretty cool if you're just using a web browser. My kids used to just put YouTube up on the TV and just segue from song to song.
I used to do that, but the apps are so much better.
Yeah,
they're so much better.
My kid never watches TV on the TV. She only watches it on her computer or a tablet.
That's pretty much
Or
the
a phone.
future.
That's actually true. YouTube doesn't spend a lot of time on my TV.
Well, they know that. That's why they're shutting this down.
Which is kind of, you know how we were talking about cameras going away? Do TVs eventually go away? We only have one in our whole house.
Not from my cold dead hands.
Oh,
Definitely
sports. I
web
forgot about
browsers
sports.
Spend no time on my TV.
I'm always watching Plex.
We have 5 TVs and there's only 3 people.
I'm always watching Plex or college football or something. So I need my television.
I like TV.
Plex is a sponsor, I believe.
I like to watch. Yes, Plex is a sponsor. Google has an addiction website. It's called Recover.
This looks very good. It is fighting one issue, which is bad addiction content.
That's a good way for
get
Google to
research.
handle that, isn't it?
Exactly.
I mean, they should have a
Same-
vaccine website. They
Exactly, which is where I think they're all going to head.
A round Earth website.
A round Earth website for those of us who still believe. So this is called Recover Together. It's at recovertogether.withgoogle.com. And it's for National Recovery Month, which is September. There's lots of information here. This will be a lot better than searching for it. That's the theory, right? Now, if I search for recovery, I would presume Google puts this at the top, although that's a hot button right now for regulators.
Oh, yeah.
What if I search for something like AA?
Go ahead.
Like, is it all recovery or is it just? Let's see. Oh, I get American Airlines.
That's exactly what I got. And
You might want to
AA.
No, wait a
Take
minute
it
though.
out
You got a
Alcoholics
knowledge.
Anonymous.
Look, you got a knowledge graph card on the right for Alcoholics Anonymous.
and AA was the second entry.
Good.
Okay, see, mine was a AA, and then so alcoholism knowledge card, mental disorder. Does that get me there?
Well, you're right. I just searched for heroin addiction, and I'm not getting it.
So interesting. Maybe you just have to search for Recover Together. I don't know. This is a really nice site. I think they've done a very nice job on this. And I would.
How do I get to it?
Yeah. recovertogether.withgoogle.com. Not the greatest
No,
address.
even that I didn't get it. I searched for, and I got join groups.
Oh.
That's really weird.
Because that's kind of an important thing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, to be able to get it.
Is it the Recovery Village?
Nope.
Recover Together with Google. Recovertogether.withgoogle.com. Is that it?
Yep.
No.
And that's
No, that is
No,
it.
that's not really
I got
it.
it about 4 entries down on my screen when
I asked if I was an alcoholic, and it told me I still haven't found it.
Oh, the ads you're going to get now, Stacey?
So here's a way to know if Google thinks you're a drunk.
Yeah.
It's the number 3rd search result for me.
And I'm sure I
Well,
drink
think about
way
how
more
often
whiskey
I'm
than
searching
you.
cocktails, you guys. I mean,
Yeah, I searched addiction recovery, and it's not on the front page of my phone.
This is weird.
At all.
yeah, mine
they
isn't
need to-
coming up.
Another slow
work on
rollout. Another slow rollout, possibly.
Well, but it kind of
Maybe.
defeats what we were assuming is the purpose of this, which is to give somewhere that Google can send people better than this generalized
Right.
search results. Yeah, isn't that
Okay, I
funny?
searched
Because
heroin
Google is
addict,
really
and I still
good
don't
at
have it.
surfacing their own internal projects for things.
It's funny. They should show this to the EU. Actually, maybe that's the secret
Yeah.
purpose for this.
Is it-
See,
we don't
we don't
We
help
did this
ourselves.
nice thing, but we can't show it to anybody
show
because
it.
you won't let us.
Yeah. Google begins rolling out new features for its Family Link parental control. Do you use this, Stacey?
No, my daughter turned 13 this year. She's out of the parental control.
Push her
club.
out of the nest. She can see all the garbage she wants. So this comes built into Android devices with Android 10 and up. And it also can be downloaded as a standalone app from Google Play if you don't have it. It's called Family Link. But it's nice that it's built into the OS now.
Mm-hmm. Native.
You could set device bedtimes, track activity per app, set daily limits, view the device's location on the map, ring it, and more.
Oh, you know what? I should actually set this up because my daughter's now on an Android phone again.
There you go.
Ooh, she's gonna. Oh,
how's she liking it, by the way?
I don't think she's figured out how to charge it yet. I'm not kidding. I'm just like, okay.
Okay. How do you charge this?
There's one port.
I love this feature, and I want to see this in a lot of parental control stuff. It's called bonus time. So if your kid does her chores, add some bonus time. The phone normally would lock at 9.
Oh, that's disgusting.
Why is that disgusting?
I don't want to, like, come on.
That's
You're like
the
bribing your
reward.
kid with screen time?
Well,
Gross.
don't make it chores then.
I agree.
Make it she ate all her peas.
Okay, again, bribing your kids with screen time for doing something.
You don't ever bribe your kid?
Well, no.
I have a really exceptional kid, and not like in a parent braggy way. I bribed her once, and she went along with it for the bribe. And then after she got the reward, she asked me if I would take the bribe away.
Oh my
if
God.
she reverted back to form. And then I said, no, of course not. You earned it. And she's like, okay. And then she reverted back to form.
Of course.
She was 5.
I totally get it, though.
The last time I bribed her.
I totally get it, though.
You bribe Isaiah and Jacob?
No, I encourage them.
Oh. He believes in the
encouragement,
stick, not the carrot.
Wow. The audio listeners are missing out on what it means by encouragement.
It's just all I need to say. Stick, no carrot. All stick, no carrot. That's Aunt's parenting.
That's parenting 101.
You don't hate your kids, do you?
Not anymore.
You're not a caveman anymore.
Allegedly.
No, you actually, but your boys, whatever you're doing it right because they're very sweet, nice boys. Although you tell me that's not actually.
They got you fooled.
How they are. All right.
But I totally get it. I don't want to encourage more screen time. I think that's a big problem with most kids today anyway, is everybody's sort of walking around staring at a screen and not necessarily taking advantage of the stuff going on around them, walking into poles, walking into the streets accidentally.
You're right.
As long as they're not walking in front of me, I have no objection. That's when I have a problem.
Yeah.
Out of my way.
I was coming down today into the PATH train, right? And there's a narrow staircase down. People are there's a train right there. I can make the train. People were saying, I can make the train. And there's some guy on the stairs tweeting and going slowly. I mean, Jesus, can't you just walk 4 steps and get down?
No, dude. So annoying. That is annoying.
And the problem isn't technology. The problem is that guy's a rude, you know what?
Yes. Entitled. Although I think technology does encourage people to live in their own worlds and feel more entitled than, being part of the world around them.
Well, if they're on Facebook, they're actually communicating with other people.
Allegedly.
Other Russian sock puppets.
Bots.
And that's...
I will say, you guys, I ran into a pole, not on my phone, while I was looking in my purse to make sure I didn't leave it in a cab. And I literally walked into a pole, and it was the most embarrassing, hilarious thing
in Leipzig when you ran into this pole? That's the Google changelog. Okay, a couple more stories, then we're going to take a break. Then we're going to get some whiskey. Jeff Jarvis. What would the world look like if
this
pessimists...
is a really long post, so we may not want to do this today.
If pessimists win.
You're calling me a pessimist?
Okay, so I read in the New Yorker...
Well, actually, dystopians.
Jonathan Franzen. Did you read his New Yorker piece? He said, it's time for us to acknowledge the fact that we're going to lose on climate change. That what needs to be done so quickly and with such unanimity, there isn't a hope in hell that we are going to avoid even the worst consequences of climate change. So the wise thing, which I think is dystopian, the wise thing to do would be just prepare for it. Mm. I, in fact, have
move away from coasts.
Weather control technology.
Yes. I honestly, as a technologist, still think that there's going to be a kind of a deus ex machina, that somebody is going to invent, carbon sequestering technology. They're going to put it, and and everything's going to be fine. And it will make auto fuel. And everything's going to be fine.
Yeah, I heard they're working on that.
But I did get 2 books. One I really actually, I haven't read the second one, so I won't recommend it, but it looks good. One called The Sixth Extinction. There have been 5 massive extinction events in the history of the world, and its author, he won a Pulitzer Prize, says we are about to enter the 6th, and gives lots of. It's very well written. It's actually not dystopian. It's kind of jolly, but the outcome is not good for us. And then I just got another one too, which I want to read because I'm just going to think, well, okay, maybe Franzen's right. It's hard to see that every nation in the world is going to go to zero emissions by 2030. Doesn't seem that likely. That we're going to give up air travel, that we're going to give up gas cars, that we're going to, I mean, it just doesn't seem that likely, especially since the U.S. government just told California we can't have higher emission standards than their crappy emission standards. It just doesn't seem that likely. So is that an example, Jeff, of dystopian?
No. By the way, I'm looking at a Vox story that says that just while you're on Franzen, the headline says scientists are pissed at the novelist and at the New Yorker for publishing him.
I thought it was quite good. I mean, he says it's time to take our head out of the sand. Anyway, read it.
Immediately after the essay went live Sunday, people began to express their ire online. Climate scientists and activists were especially pissed at the author and also at the magazine that published him. The critics' anger seemed to coalesce around 4 main complaints, 3 of them empirical in nature. Franzen is wrong on the science, on the politics, and on the psychology of human behavior as it pertains to climate change. The 4th complaint was more about credentials and identity. If a prestigious magazine like The New Yorker wants to allocate, exactly, and a boring one at that, I would argue.
Oh, I love his books, but okay.
I gave a great review to an early one about St. Louis. I was reading the corrections on 9/11.
Oh, so you have a bad taste in your mouth from that.
It was the copy I had was literally filled on every page with the dust.
Oh my God. I actually loved the corrections, but it's slice of life fiction. It's not for everyone.
The problem is after 9/11, it just seems so self-indulgent.
It does seem self-indulgent, but that's human.
But that's not my view of dystopia.
Oh, what is your view of
dystopia? Is that all you guys who keep on complaining about everything technology win?
That would be bad. That would be bad.
And that the what I call the unholy compromise of the year 2022 happens, and Trumpist conservatives and Warrenite liberals join forces to attack the internet companies, each for their own reasons. And in the aftermath, most of the internet companies are broken up. Collection and use of data by commercial entities as well as academic researchers is severely curtailed. Moderation requirements and consequent liability for copyright violations, hate, falsehood, unauthorized memories, and other forbidden speech were imposed on social media companies, and then on news organizations and media organizations. New speech courts were established to adjudicate disputes of falsehood and hate, as well as information ownership, excessive expression, and political neutrality by net companies.
This is if all of the calls for regulation of big tech go so far as to kind of really break it all up. Because I think what we talk about here is not, in fact, I think we've often said probably not a good idea to break up big tech, but certainly that some regulation is in order.
Right. So I went to the limit on all of these things and looked at that.
And that's always been my concern too, as you start talking about this, if you go all the way down that road, then you lose all the benefits of technology.
Precisely. Right. So what happens when we demonize data? What happens when we fight over data ownership?
Good piece.
I propose that there's going to be a law here that says that you have to do what I call technology impact reports that list everything that could possibly go wrong with the technology that you introduce. And if you don't list it and it happens, then you have liability.
I think companies should do that internally before they release a product, actually.
Well, yeah, they actually should.
I don't know.
In this case, it was about liability.
Well, but they're not.
Forbidding technologies. We had a discussion today about facial recognition. I argue here that it's outlawed. That we have the beginnings of laws that try to establish truth versus falsity. That's already happening in France and Singapore. We get to the idea. There's a lot of argument going on today that we have too much speech, which scares me to death. But respected academics are asking whether the First Amendment is obsolete because the people out there are talking and they don't like it. So take that down the road. So this is a piece I wrote. It's very long. It's too long. But I really wanted to explore.
I think it's
obviously it's dystopian. So
it's your version of Jonathan Franzen's New Yorker article. Exactly. By the way,
but I'm saying we can stop this.
We can stop it.
We should.
And I love the coda, which I presume you wrote.
Yes.
Which is, I'm sorry this essay proved to be controversial. Professor, I'm devastated you lost your quest for tenure. Thank you for challenging class. I wish you luck in your new career in the tyro industry.
The technology impact report optimization industry.
And then the editor, is that you or is that Medium?
That's me. That's me.
This paper will get an A, editor. I love it.
It's in the year 2032. So
very nice.
Wait, did you clearly mark that as satire, Jeff?
I marked it as History 302 Fall Semester 2032 Final Essay. If everybody doesn't get that, then fine.
That sounds
Let them
pretty
believe
satiric. Yes.
I'm teasing you, Jeff.
But I did like my nickname. I'm now going to call you guys the Distos.
Distos. I was a techno. Now I'm a disto.
Now you're a disto. It's the Distos versus the Technos. If you Distos win, this is the trouble that will then occur.
Oh, dear.
Oh, dear. Just a quick note. Richard Stallman has now not only resigned at MIT, but as well at the Free Software Foundation, which he led for a long time, creating GNU Linux. He was a computer scientist, one of the original MIT hackers, who held some very controversial opinions
regarding the Epstein situation.
Regarding not just Epstein, but for 20 years, he's had very controversial opinions about pedophilia. And
I had somebody introduce me to him at some event, and he just went off in this ridiculous rant, and I walked away from him. I couldn't take it. I told my friend, just keep me away from him.
He's never been, he's always been a challenging person to be around. I've interviewed him, and I respect what he has done as a computer scientist. We wouldn't have Linux if not for the Free Software Foundation.
Right.
But he was always very adamant about his positions that no software should, all software should be free. And apparently had some, was not aware of his,
I wonder if he'll be investigated now.
You know, one of the things that came out in the Epstein thing that really disturbed me is that Marvin Minsky, who was a legendary artificial intelligence scientist, researcher, professor at MIT, apparently, according to accusations, misused his position as a professor to sleep with an underage undergraduate. And that really disturbed me because even more than Richard Stallman, Marvin Minsky is a hero for artificial intelligence. So it goes deep, and it's not
education. So this is an interesting thing because no woman bothers to say someone is an intellectual and then clarifies it with, and they don't sleep with their students. Like men seem to think that you can be intelligent and it's weird that you're this genius and you make these really crappy decisions that take advantage of people, right? And I'm constantly surprised when people express like what you just did, Leo. And I'm not saying you're wrong to be this, but it's surprising to me that you think that those are related, right? So I guess I'm just throwing that out there that people seem to, he was so good at this.
Well, here's why I said it, and maybe you're right. He made some very important contributions to our field. Very important, as did Marvin Minsky. Very important. And I feel like that deserves to be acknowledged at the same time as we acknowledge that he was a complete asshole. And are you saying I shouldn't need to say both things?
No, I guess when people say he was such a credit to the field, I'm surprised he also.
Well, he was not a credit. I won't say he was not a credit to the field. He was exactly the opposite. And B, I'm not surprised because I have, like Jeff, we've both had that experience. I mean, he had some strange personality disorder. But Minsky, I never met. I don't know. Legendary, both of them legendary in computer science, and clearly, there were problems.
So
but that happens across the board. I mean, they're separate issues. I don't think they need to be.
No, okay.
A lot of people are jerks.
Yes.
And they may do. There's a lot of great novelists, playwrights, movie directors whose art is great and whose personal life is despicable. What should we say about that? How do we?
It's always very hard to separate.
I'm not saying that, and I'm not saying you don't have to say anything. I'm not calling you to task on the saying things.
No, you can if you want to.
I am surprised when people try to say, "Oh, this person has done so much," and I'm surprised.
I don't mean it as a way of saying, "Oh,
it's not a mitigation.
It mitigates in any way." I'm not saying
that.
I'm not
and in
reading
fact, it is the contrary because they use their positions reprehensibly. So, well, what are you saying then?
I'm surprised that someone couldn't be a predator and a really good person or a really good
no, it happens all the time.
Contributor to the field of AI.
Bill Cosby was a great comedian.
Right.
Right.
I like Michael Jackson's music. And by the way, this is a challenge we all face. Do I stop listening to Michael Jackson's music?
I don't know. What'd you decide?
Woody Allen films. Yeah, it's Wagner. I've never come to as a critic. As a critic, I've never been able to decide in the end.
Yeah, it's tough.
Certainly, a person's behavior in life can besmirch their reputation.
Oh yeah,
but it doesn't necessarily diminish their art. Or does it? Do you feel like it does, Stacey? Does it diminish their art?
I think these people, because of their art, are given a pass.
Right.
Obviously.
Yeah. And that's wrong. That's wrong.
Well,
and that's what
it's wrong, but it's also
saying.
There are certain people who are more likely to get a pass, and there's even certain fields where people are more likely to get a pass.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you're in academia and you are a woman or probably a person of color, you probably don't get the same pass that these white guys who've contributed so much to their field. If you're in sports, like you're a football player, you don't get you'll probably get a pass that other people wouldn't get for like beating up your girlfriend.
Happens all the time.
So those are just some of the things. I mean, this is one of those. I was just ad hoc expressing my surprise because it hits me right here.
No, and it's important to talk about. It's super important to talk about. I completely want you to correct me.
Oh, don't worry,
wrong,
Leo. I'm not going to shut up or anything.
No. and furthermore, I want the correction. If you feel like it's an inappropriate way to talk about it.
It wasn't a correction. It was just an
observation.
I don't think it's surprising at all that this person could be a sexual predator and good at AI research. They're not related.
I'm not surprised. I'm disappointed, but you're right. I'm not surprised. And having grown up in academia, my father is a professor. I'm very well aware of the horrific behavior of professors, male professors, going back generations.
Speaking of which, if I may, while we've been on the show, MIT had a large faculty meeting.
Oh, really?
Which are open. So Ethan Zuckerman live tweeted it all. Let me just read a couple things here.
Zuckerman, one of the computer scientists who resigned from MIT Media Lab after the Epstein revelation.
Over this. Yeah. So he said that Heather Paxson, I'm presuming a faculty member, reads a letter from 61 senior women faculty members. Deep dismay at the Epstein situation, call for action. Fundraisers violated institute values, especially in inviting Epstein to campus. Attempts to conceal relationship. Staff and students forced to collude. Situation symptomatic of larger cultural issues at MIT need to address gender and sexual implications of Epstein, not just fundraising issues. Sexual abuse survivors shaken by these actions. How can our leaders be trusted given these violations? Lisa Parks, MIT, another department, says that there are 1,066 faculty members at MIT. Only 266 are women. Fewer than 30 are women of color. Our community, says this tweet quoting her, feels undervalued, unsafe. MIT relationship with Epstein reveals a cultural crisis, a crisis in values. His ain't getting dropped, and nor should it.
Did you read Larry Lessig's apologia?
Oh, did I? I'm so disappointed.
Me too, because here's another guy that I really look up to, I really admire. I honestly think that some of the issues he raised were not inappropriate. He pointed out that it
was illogical.
Yeah, it was a lot. I mean, yeah. Oh.
So, Stacey and Ant, did you see that?
I'm just now seeing this on
Larry
Twitter.
Lessig, longtime Harvard
I saw it.
professor, the guy who created Creative Commons, was running for president last time.
And who believed that it was okay to take the money as long as it was kept anonymous, that making it anonymous so that you allegedly don't get anything out of it makes it okay.
It wasn't whitewashing Epstein's reputation because it was done anonymously. That, I'm sure, was the justification in the MIT administrators' minds as well.
But it got actually what he wanted, which was introductions to science leaders and
plenty of
I
other
fear
stuff.
to say young students.
And it did, in fact, probably whitewash his reputation somewhat among those who knew. I feel I like Larry a lot. He's been on our shows, and I think the world of him. And again, he's wrong on this one.
I think that a lot of times he may not recognize and I hate to say privilege but he may not recognize that an anonymous donation, he may not understand the impact of what he's saying because he doesn't live in a world where that matters to him.
The one thing I thought that he raised that I thought was interesting, though, is there is a range of misbehavior among donors, and often institutions kind of have to hold their nose. And he said, well, where is the line drawn? I mean, clearly Jeffrey Epstein is definitely way beyond the veil. There's not any question. But
people at MIT object to Coke money, but others would not.
Well, there you go.
Right? When I was at UT, the student body wanted to reject a bunch of money from Jim Bob, I can't think of it, McMurran, the Freeport McMurran guy. It was strip mining, very bad at the time. And they took the money. They built a new biology
Andrew
building
Carnegie, who was a horrible human and made his fortune with U.S. Steel and trust busting or union busting, in his life built all these libraries. Do you reject those libraries because the money came from Andrew Carnegie and the blood and sweat and tears of steel workers, or do you say,
people are stripping the Sackler name off of things?
Well, as they should.
Well, there you go. You're like, we're drawing lines all the time.
But do you not build the library because of that? Do you say, no, Andrew Carnegie, your money is blood money. I will not take that free library money. There are free libraries all over the country built with his money.
Do they have his name on them as a requirement?
Many of them. Well, ours does not. It just says free. Says free public library on the one in Petaluma. It's a beautiful building. Probably yes. It certainly was well known that Carnegie did it. So, and it was, everybody knows it was to whitewash his reputation. Bill freaking Gates. The work that he's doing, do you say, well, we don't want to take Gates' money because Gates was a robber baron in the 90s?
Okay, there's a vast difference between Gates's robber
but that's the point. It's a continuum. That's the point. It's a continuum, and where do you draw the line?
Drawing a line.
I think that's where we are. That's the fun
Rockefellers were a nightmare. We wouldn't have a National Park Service without the Rockefellers.
Well, so this is part of people's participation in a democracy, right? Back then, the people who were deciding whether or not they took the money, they probably looked at the Rockefellers and Carnegies as fellow travelers, right? When you have more people with more say, which we're opening up more people, like everybody in the white male contingencies was like, yeah, Epstein, you're fine. I like young girls too. But when MIT students were like, as a young person who does not want to be preyed upon, I think this sucks. That's the conversation you have. You can't draw a line, and you certainly can't draw a line based on the current power structures. Yeah. And that's why we're having all these fun conversations.
That's the problem, isn't it?
Well said.
Yes. That's that privilege problem.
And it's the structure. It's a structural problem. That's the structural problem. Is that when only some people are when out of 1,066 professors, only 30 are women of color at MIT. Then who's having the discussion? Right. In a faculty meeting where only faculty can talk.
Right.
Who's at the table?
Right.
Yep.
Okay. Now I need
one
whiskey.
Other story.
Okay, one other story, and then I'm going to get whiskey.
We solved that problem. Moving on.
Quickly, Facebook, and I've written about it before. We've talked about it before, but Facebook's oversight board this afternoon, your time, they announced the final rules for it, the charter, the structure. I've written about this. I went to 2 meetings where they brought in people.
Good deal?
I think it could be. Zuckerberg says
they will have non-vetoable ability to say, nope, that's gone. Can't be overridden. Or vice versa. Yeah.
They can't be overridden. They can't be fired.
Who are these people?
That's the next step. So they're going to have 40, and the structure is they're going to have about They brought in consultants and all kinds of people, Heidrick and Struggles and all these search companies, and they're going to try to come up with, I think, 8 to 10 people that Facebook will indeed pick, but a minority of the 40 in the end, and then those people will pick everyone else who joins the oversight board thenceforth.
I nominate
so they'll seed it.
Jeff Jarvis for this board.
Thanks. Well, they wouldn't have me on them too.
I have a question for Leo.
Yes.
Oh, just kidding. This is a new story, so keep going, Jeff.
This is a big step forward. I think this is a big step. Looks good from the point of view of how to solve Facebook's tough, difficult problem.
It just doesn't solve it all. It's not going to scale. It's only going to deal with certain issues.
But at least it's not Mark Zuckerberg saying, "Well, let's go ahead and do it."
Yeah, and I the people who did this process, I have immense respect for. They're very smart. They went through everything. They listened to tons of people. Does it solve everything? Absolutely, of course not. No. But it creates an independent voice, mechanism of appeal, a pressure on Facebook on not just specific takedowns, but also on policy. And we'll see. It's a definite we'll see. But I think it's a decent step. Yeah. I just want to make sure we mark that today.
Thank you. Yes, you're absolutely right.
Full disclosure, I raised money for my school from Facebook. I'm independent of Facebook. Received nothing personally from Facebook.
Stacey, your last story.
This is just a question. Speaking of Facebook, Leo, are you going to buy the new, cheaper portal gear?
No. Built for your TV.
Yeah, what about the one you just hook onto your TV so it watches you every time you watch TV?
We're listening.
We're listening to you.
We're listening.
We hear you.
We hear for you. We hear you. Holy cow. Why do they keep putting this stuff out?
And apparently they're selling it.
The portals are supposedly selling well, yeah.
Somebody's buying.
Oh, yeah, these are cheap, right?
These are $20 cheaper, $179 and I think $129.
The Portal and Portal Mini, $179 and $129. Shipping starts next month.
The Portal TV
here's something to think about. They haven't figured out a business model for this yet. Would you do this without a business model?
There's a business model. There's definitely a business model. Facebook puts microphones and cameras in your home, but there's no business model. I think there's a business
model. They also just updated the terms of
service.
You can opt out of certain things now.
It's a pilot program.
Oh, you can opt out of them collecting audio clips.
I mean, so it's Facebook doing essentially what Amazon and Google are doing.
Right. That is a truth statement.
Is it that we trust Facebook less than Amazon and Google? Are we wise?
Fair, I do.
Heck yeah.
Are we wise to do so?
Facebook has, not only have they gone out and outright lied to us on more than one occasion about what they're doing with your data.
Passing the buck.
They come out each time and apologize and thinks that it's suddenly okay.
Right.
It's not.
No, they haven't shown.
Which goes to Stacey's point about my dystopia. Internally, they should be doing technology impact reports and saying what could go wrong.
By the way,
who could use this badly.
Facebook, it is to be noted, is trying to trademark the word book in Europe.
Are you serious? What?
Not for you, Gutenberg.
They apparently have rights over the word face in the United States.
Face blank, right?
Face blank. They also have Facebook and the Facebook, but they're trying to get book. This is from the register.co.uk. Interior intellectual property news from the United States. Last week, the Ohio State University lost its attempt to trademark the word the. Okay, now I need a drink of whiskey, and I will get that as soon as I tell you about the thing that saves me. Carson, we use this. Zapier saves me so much time. It's always been said amongst programmers, amongst IT professionals, sysadmins, if you do something more than a couple of times, you should automate it. You should write a script. But if you're not a sysadmin or an IT professional or a programmer, can you do this? Yes, you can with Zapier. Zapier makes it easy to automate the things you do over and over again, especially in business. Zapier has over 1,500 plus connected apps, all the apps you use, of course, Facebook and Twitter, but all the apps, CRM apps like Salesforce, it lets you create multi-step zaps that automate your workflow. And I just love it. You can use it to, well, here's what Karsten and I do. Whenever I'm in my newsreader and I star an article, it automatically takes that, tweets it to a special links for Twitter account. It pinboards it, so I have that bookmark. And then it makes a line in a spreadsheet, a shared Google Docs spreadsheet, so that Karsten can easily cut it and paste it into the show rundowns. And all I do is press a button, and it does it all automatically. I have the same script is also taking anything that I favorite using Pinboard. So it's just amazing. But it's your email. You could, for instance, you get a new lead. You could engage them automatically, import new customers, notify your team about opportunities with one click of the mouse. They walk you through it. So no programming involved. You can do it. It's very simple. And they give you ways to test every step of the way so you know exactly what's going on. This is exactly done right. Zapier. Don't waste time on tasks you know could be automated. Don't have to go to the IT department. Don't have to go to developer. Just go to Zapier.com/twig. Connect the apps you use the most. Let Zapier take it from there. 4.5 million people use Zapier. And get this. On average, they save 40 hours a month, a whole work week, by using Zapier. You could try it for free right now through November by going to Zapier.com/twig. Zapier. Zapier.com/twig. 14-day free trial. I love Zapier. There's a free tier. I pay for the starter. Enough scripts to do everything I need. I just love it. Zapier.com/twig. I've been using them for years. You will want this. All right, Stacey, tell me something good. Tell me something good.
I was just about to say, start singing. Okay. Because I'm crazy, have purchased an advent calendar.
Wait a minute. Christmas is a few months off.
I know. You guys.
She's crazy.
I think I hear a box opening.
Is it?
I'm unboxing it, and I'm going to open it for the first day to show you if this is a good thing for you to buy.
I always wanted a cheese advent.
Last year.
Yeah, what did she do last year?
It was gin last year.
Gin, that's right.
It's gin.
What is this?
So this is the Funko Pop Marvel Advent Calendar.
What the hell is that?
What is that?
I've seen
You know
this.
what Funko Pops are?
They're the little things with the big heads. The little dolls with the big heads. And
so is this for your kid?
It's for both of us. I was like,
oh, you get Marvel characters.
Yes, this is the Marvel one.
I
want to open it so I can show you the quality of the Funko Pops.
Oh, that's what those are called. I never knew what those things were called.
They're little characters, little plastic characters with giant heads.
Oh.
All right, so here we go, you guys. So you can see the calendar.
Don't open the first one. That's going to spoil it.
No, don't you want to see? Okay, tell me if you want to see the quality of the Funko Pops inside.
Your camera quality is not so good. I'd rather just show the.
Yeah, we can see it here.
Don't open it. Don't open it. We can.
It'll be. I mean, my daughter is okay.
We've got a nice picture.
Oh, go ahead.
Don't spoil them.
We can't now let it sit. By the way, they also have a Harry Potter Funko Pop. Whoa. With all your favorite characters. They also have a Lego. Has anybody done the? I've done the
Lego ones.
Yeah, I think I've
do
done
the Lego ones a lot.
Yeah, Star Wars. I love advent calendars. We should just have one for every month.
So this is what I've been missing out on.
Oh, Fortnite Funko Pop.
Oh, yeah, there's a Fortnite Funko Pop.
Funko Pop.
Oh, no.
Is that a
I
nutcracker?
just wanted to show you guys that.
Okay, show us our Funko Pop. Let's see. Go ahead. Ruin it for your daughter.
She's 13. Come on.
This is really for mom.
Most of the time, I was doing it as a service to everybody who might be considering one of these.
So you think they're really nicely made?
I don't know. No, I don't know the quality. That's really important in an advent calendar. So I'm showing you. They come prepackaged.
Nice.
And I'm going to cut it open. How do I feel? Oh, these are good quality Funko Pops.
Oh, man, her face lit up.
Oh, man, these are good quality Funko Pops, she says.
Look, they're actually but they're not like the cheap plastic ones with the paint that kind of doesn't cover things properly. These are good.
That is beautiful.
I heartily endorse. And this guy is this Iron Man?
That's Iron Man.
That's Iron Man? No.
Yeah, I think this is
Really?
Yeah,
sort of looks like Iron Man.
Mark II. Mark III. Iron Man Mark III.
Oh, I think you should.
Oh my
get
God,
this.
Karsten, I love you so much.
I clearly am not nerdy enough for this.
Wow. Okay, so I am pro. I can heartily recommend these now. I feel good. I was concerned. That's why I felt like I had to open it and show you guys. So if you wanted to buy these for you or your children or your office.
So last year you did the gin advent calendar, but I'm seeing they also have Irish whiskey, cognac, bourbon, and American whiskey advent calendars. Oh, here's a Japanese whiskey advent calendar.
Here's your Japanese. The Hibiki Harmony is a
great.
lovely whiskey, should you like it.
That's a great one.
It's always it's hard to find now. Your best bet is duty free.
Yep.
And then I'm just going to give you another whiskey recommendation if you wanted it.
Please.
But that's two things.
We do.
Because I live in Washington, I went and tasted some Washington whiskeys. And I can tell you the Woodinville whiskey, so it's woodinvillewhiskeyco.com. Their Woodinville double barrel whiskey is excellent. It is very smooth and quite delicious.
Now we are
And not
going
unreasonable.
next week. We're going to have an event at our local distillery, which Griffo, which makes whiskey. So we'll let you know how that Griffo is.
Micro distillery.
It's a micro distillery. They suddenly become. Turns out we are in kind of distillery alley here. Started with Lagunitas beer. Now there's a bunch of distilleries and beers, and you can get absinthe.
Any gin mills?
I think I went to Hen House last night.
Hen House is good, right?
You can send me some gin, Leo. It's okay.
Is that what? Well,
Same here.
I'm thinking for host gifts. You like gin?
I love gin. Oh, are you coming to my house?
Jeff
Imagine the
raises his
show
hand.
if Stacey and I are both on gin.
Wow. So this is maybe we'll get. I don't know if they have a variety of distilled spirits. Yes, they have
They
gin.
do have it.
Griffo gin. All right, we'll get you some Petaluma gin. That's gonna be
Petaluma
good.
gin.
Petaluma gin. Yum yum yum. Ant, do you have a pick by any chance? I know we threw you on the show at the last minute. You don't have to have a pick.
I do have a pick.
Okay.
I know we talked about Google's recovery story.
Yes.
But September is also Childhood Cancer Awareness Month. So if you folks could be so kind to check out this St. Jude website and look at the ways that you can give to help support and raise awareness and raise some money for research to help nip this thing in the bud.
That's nice.
That is my
nice.
pick.
A good pick. You're a good person.
I have my moments.
Most of us pick things that we can spend money on for ourselves.
I really like that you're bringing. Last week it was mental health
awareness.
I think this is your groove. I think the goodness groove.
I don't know, man. I have my moment.
You know, it's so funny because we had a priest work here for years, and he never did that. Although I was looking at our guard, our security guard out front, Mo, great guy, and Mo does carry a sidearm as well as mace because be prepared.
It is what it is.
But then I noticed there was a rather large Nerf weapon next to him. I said, "Do you use that too?" He said, "Father Robert left me that when he left. It was his gift." Jeff Jarvis, pick of the week.
So I got two things.
Yes.
Stacey, first, if I may ask, you bought the Pixel 3, right?
The 3A.
3A.
The type.
Oh, 3A. Oh, okay. So I was going to peeve you here. The Pixel 3 is now, of course, in advance of the next announcement, 50% off.
Nice.
It's been
Or
pretty
about
cheap.
50% off.
Yeah, they've been cutting it
not quite
$200
50,
pretty regularly. Yeah, they.
I mean,
So
this is
$499 for the 3, $599 is not 50% for the 3XL. So that's not my number this week is 2. A chair with 2 legs, the stupidest thing you've ever seen.
I think this is great.
What the?
This is only white men could think they could get away with wearing this.
What is it? Oh my
It's
God!
a wearable chair.
Oh man.
This is from the Tech Insider Twitter account. a wearable chair that will allow you to sit anywhere except you got these weird metal things hanging from your butt.
This guy walking down the street looking self-satisfied.
I got a metal chair.
Wearing his chair.
My butt chair. Look at that. Don't worry about standing on that bus, my friend. You've got a chair built into your butt.
It's like butt skates.
I'm going to throw him a bone, okay?
Yeah?
I've done shoots in the past.
Oh, where you wish you had a chair.
Yeah, and there's a couple times I would have like a little plastic footstool or something.
You can get walking sticks that turn into stools.
You know,
I think that's reasonable.
I would use it for something like that. I'm not going to walk the streets of Petaluma with that, though.
You need if you need your hands free. I mean, because a walking stick chair. And okay, I'm going to throw this out there for. My mom had this condition where she didn't have any cartilage in her hip bones, and as it wore away,
yikes!
I know that feeling. I have a replaced hip.
Yeah.
So she was like 45 when she had her first hip replacement. And something like this is actually really helpful.
This would be good.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, it's ridiculous, but if it's effective,
just use it for, when you need it. I'm not going to walk the streets with that, dude.
This video really needs audio to see how much you're clinking as you're
clank, clank, clank. It's better than a miniature pony service animal.
Silicon Valley.
But, yeah. So my pick of the week is at Hugging Face, Transformer huggingface.co. Get a modern neural network to auto-complete your thoughts.
Oh, I thought you were going to do image roulette, man.
No, this is even better. Roulette. This is even better. I can start writing. And in fact, tell me something to write. It was a dark and stormy
afternoon.
And then if I want to get a suggestion, I press tab. And then I could add day when we were out, but I got out. Day in Beijing on May 3rd, or day I was feeling great and having a good time.
Okay.
Stacey was wearing her.
I don't think I really don't want you to chair. Oh, okay.
I had to ask Tab her what happened to you. Her about it. Him to put it on my lap while I was doing.
That would be no.
What happened to you? End quote. She said she had a little too much to drink, and Tab.
It's not going to go well.
The only way I could help was to ask, you know what? I'm going to pick that and then hit Tab again. Her to stop smoking and put a cigarette tab in my mouth. Period. And there's my short story written by computer.
Oh, man.
In a shocking finding, scientists discovered a herd of unicorns living in a remote, previously unexplored valley in the Andes.
I remember this.
This was the one we saw before.
Yeah,
Even more surprising, the researchers the fact that unicorns spoke perfect English. So now you can find your own. The other thing that's cool about this is you don't have to use that particular Hugging Face NLP. They have other models you can play with. So if you're curious,
oh my goodness,
should I try GPT-2? Let's get some. Let's select.
Oh, you've got to do the same thing again to see how it's different.
Well,
so it was
I'm
a
not
dark,
in that
stormy...
much mood to do that, and I don't think anybody else is. But you can just keep hitting tab. Tab return, tab return,
we'll
tab
leave
return.
the animals.
And the whole thing
oh my goodness
will finish itself. So that's it for This Week in Google. We've taught you how to write, how to drink, and how to get Marvel characters in a special little box for Christmas. Thank you all for being here. Aunt Pruitt, where can we find Aunt Pruitt?
Well, you can find me here at Twit Studios first.
Are you Instagramming?
I am Instagramming.
What's your Instagrammer?
It is still ant_Pruitt.
Same with your Twitter?
Yes, sir.
Anything else people could follow? I think it's a good way to know what you're up to is you go there, and when you announce the shows, you'll certainly announce it.
We'll announce the shows, but I do have a segment on Hot, so that's twit.tv/hot.
That's our hands-on tech product review show.
Hands-on tech.
And Ant and I are going to both review the new Sony A7R2.
With its 10
that's
pound.
why you were playing with it.
Yeah, brand new camera, 61 megapixels.
10-pound dumbbell.
Which doesn't matter if you don't take the lens cap off, Leo. Stacey Higginbotham is at stacyoniot.com. She does a great podcast with Kevin Toffel. Anything else you'd like to mention?
Sign up for my newsletter. It comes out on Fridays.
And it's free.
You can sign up at stacyoniot.com.
I'm there. You should be.
Yeah, I get it. I love it. Jeff Jarvis, professor of journalism at the Craig Newmark Graduate School of Journalism. He's at buzzmachine.com. He's at Jeff Jarvis, and he's also on Medium, where you can read his very long submission
dystopias.
on dystopia for his 2032 class. We do This Week in Google Wednesdays, 1:30 Pacific, 4:30 Eastern, 20:30 UTC. If you want to watch live, twit.tv/live. You can listen live there, too. You can even ask your Amazon Echo, just listen to Twit Live, and it should play the shows, whatever's on live right now. If you're doing that, though, go to the chat room, because they're watching and typing while they're listening. They don't use neural nets. It comes out of their own noggin there. Just go to irc.twit.tv. Although I have to say, in a way, they are my neural net. I have trained them over the years,
that's what they
over
are
decades of listening to me. So now they complete my sentences for me. And they do a much better job, by the way.
Much better jokes.
Much better jokes. I get all my good jokes from the chat room. If you want on-demand versions of the show, go to twit.tv/twig. Best thing to do, though, subscribe in your favorite podcast application. That way you'll get it the minute our editors are finished cleaning it up, removing all the swear words, that kind of thing. Thank you so much for joining us today. Hope you had a good time. We'll see you next week on This Week in Google. Bye-bye.